Multisys Technologies Corporation is your one-stop system provider. We do advanced systems research and development, focused on evolving assets of IT systems, platforms, and software solutions. We show integrated set of programs and solutions that drive businesses nowadays. Backed by our R&D team, we are able to customize solutions according to your business requirements with speed, accuracy, and efficiency. In our efforts to help Filipinos' way of life through digital innovations and transformation, we partnered with IT companies, system contractors, government agencies, big conglomerates, small and medium enterprises, and tech startups as well. We go above and beyond partnerships. It's a teamwork, and we make sure that your business and ours grow together. We find success in every collaboration and establish meaningful connections. That's why we want to partner with you. Here at Multisys, we empower your business. Multisys is a one-stop software company. So instead of you talking to too many integrators, you'll be able to come up with a centralized and automated way of doing things. We have a team that really move like one. So they are really united. So instead of one programmer, one system approach, I think multiple programmers joining force together, they can collaborate easily. We have speed, we have accuracy, we have efficiency. I think that's the secret of the group. That's why companies love to work with us. It will be faster for them. It will be more efficient to develop and deploy a certain system. They are a designer, they are a coder or programmer, they are a systems analyst, they are a quality control expert, and they're a UI and UX expert as well. That skill is not easy to really somehow have in one programmer. Multisys can really customize the system. We can customize it according to their needs, design for their own and existing process flows. We're all racing against the clock. Priority of Multisys is to elevate the lifestyle of every Filipino by delivering automated, integrated systems to make sure that we can fast-track their operation, processes. I think it's all about how fast can you deliver a certain technology. Speed matters nowadays. Sabi nga sa Tagalog, diba, daig ng maagap ang masipag. That's why we develop futuristic systems. What we do is that we predict the future, we develop, and then the moment that we are partnered with a certain entity, we're able to show them a live system. It's not a PowerPoint presentation. It will be a prototype, it will be a working system. So this will give them an idea how to solve a problem. This will give them an idea to expedite their processes. So not only showing them a vision, but showing them a solution already. We develop end-to-end solutions for 8 industries now. And we would like to automate other industries as well. Currently, we have an end-to-end solution for information technology businesses, okay, ERPs. We have e-government solutions, healthcare, an end-to-end solution for utility, whether you are an electric company, a water utility company, a telco, or a cable utility company. We do also retail, hospitality, academe, and of course, the new one is the banking and finance. Here at Multisys, we empower your business.
Digital innovation is accelerating across all industries and markets as companies invest to differentiate themselves. However, this also increases a company's risk. The digital attack surface is much broader across endpoints, network edges, and the cloud. Data breaches and ransomware continue to increase in sophistication. With Fortinet, trust you are protected everywhere your people, devices, and data are. Fortinet offers broad visibility across the entire attack surface, an integrated platform to reduce management complexity, and automation for fast and efficient operations. Fortinet, making possible a digital world you can always trust.
Hi, intelligent world. Thanks, intelligent car. Let's discover the universe with supercomputing power. Now, we can explore Mars in class. With a vision to bring digital to every person, home, and organization, together with our partners, Huawei is building the Horizon digital platform and ecosystem, integrating new ICT technology and bringing an intelligent world to life through digital transformation. This isn't magic. It's intelligent finance, envisioning business opportunities. You'll never miss a moment in the high-speed world of investing. This isn't science fiction. It's intelligent transportation, linking vast distances, connecting business centers, suburbs, and the outskirts. A city's blueprints can redefine efficiency for everyone. This isn't fantasy, it's reality. Intelligent campus and intelligent city are on the rise. With intelligent brains to think on their own. This isn't the future. This is now. Hi, intelligent world.
How do we empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more?
It starts with one.
One employee.
One developer.
One organization.
From one employee to a team collaborating with another team.
From one organization to their customers, to their customers' customers.
Helping local communities, creating jobs, increasing productivity for the global economy.
Our society.
Our world.
That's the impact.
That's the impact.
That's the impact each of us can have.
That's our opportunity.
100,000 plus employees.
75 million organizations.
7 billion people on the planet.
100 to 75 to 7.
To make every small business more productive.
To make every large business more competitive.
To make nonprofits more effective.
To make government institutions more responsive.
To expand access to education.
To improve healthcare outcomes. And to amplify human ingenuity.
When we empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more, we empower the world.
Everybody, I'm Kathy. I'm Kathy. I will be your host for this afternoon. On behalf of the organizers, PLDT InnoLab, Idea Space Foundation, and Kubo Philippines, I am very excited to welcome all of you in this year's PLDT and Smart Startup Innovation Challenge. The PLDT and Smart Startup Innovation Challenge is a problem-solving hackathon where startups work on real-life challenges and ensure the development of prototypes using identified technologies that are shaping today's world. I would also like to acknowledge and give special thanks to Our technology partners, Multisys, Fortinet, Microsoft, Checkpoint, Huawei, EPLDT, Aruba, Enghouse Interactive, and Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Before we officially start the pitching competition, it is my great honor to introduce the first Vice President and Head of Enterprise and International Business Groups of PLDT and SMART, Mr. Joseph Ian Hendrano, for the opening message. Prior to joining the Philippine Telecom Giant, he was the Vice President of IT at the Goldman Sachs Group, New York, USA. He also held technical sales positions at Verizon Business and Cisco Systems. Jojo obtained his bachelor's degree in electronics and communications engineering from De La Salle University and his master's degree in electrical engineering, majoring in telecommunications and networking from the University of Pennsylvania. Good afternoon, Jojo.
Thanks very much, Kathy, and a very pleasant good afternoon to all. So here we are, the culminating event. A journey that started with an online meeting with Dara and team during the pandemic on how we can further support the startup communities and at the same time accelerate the innovation funnel of the PLDT group on how PLDT and SMART and EPLDT can better serve our customers. And that is through open innovation, where it's an ecosystem and an external approach to building R&D, knowledge, and capability. So glad to see that we got almost 100 submissions of established startups, shortlisted to 20, then to 10 today, and I wish all the teams much luck and success on your final pitches. The PLDT group has always and will continue to be a staunch supporter of the startup community and of open innovation, and expect that this will further accelerate and intensify. So notable examples have been, say, the 2015 Startup Studio, then followed by the very successful MVP Geek Olympics, and this event being the latest and the greatest for that matter. So PLDT InnoLab, led by Melvin and Dara, are dedicated solely to this ecosystem, as we believe that a focused execution on collaborating with startups is of utmost importance. I'm also extremely excited to see the vibrant local startup scene, where the pandemic has put digital to the forefront, and we gratefully acknowledge the vision, drive, and agility of our startups to answer the call and solve real-world consumer and business challenges. Would also like to take this opportunity to thank Kat, Butch, IdeaSpace, the Cuties of Kubo, and our technology partners for this year's Startup Innovation Challenge. Would also like to thank the DTI, DOST, and the DICT for inviting us also to this year's Philippine Startup Week. So on behalf of the leadership of the PLDT Group, thanks so very much for all of your support and participation. Very excited to see the outcome and the exciting future ahead. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Georgia. So much to look forward to with the month-long application process. We were able to gather over 80 startup entries from Metro Manila, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Our 10 startup finalists have gone rigorous mentoring, prototyping, and testing of their solutions. Mentors from our technology partners, from PLDT and SMART, and known mentors from the startup community have shared their insights and inputs to our 10 game changers. And for today's pitching competition, these are the mechanics. Each team will be given 5 minutes for pitching and demo, and 5 minutes for Q&A. For the Q&A session, all team members can respond to the questions from the judges. For the judging criteria, product readiness, 25%. Does the solution work as designed? Did the team achieve their goals and accomplish what they set out to do? Do all the features function based on its IT design? Technical difficulty, 15%. Is the project technically impressive? Can it work or be applied in the real world? Novelty, 5%. How innovative is the approach? How novel is the solution? Business viability, 30%. Is the solution easily available to users? Is it feasible? Did the team present a viable business case that shows growth and margins? How well are the key revenue streams presented? And do they feel realistic? User experience, 15%. How complex or user-friendly are their solutions? Scalability, 10%. Is the product or solution scalable? If the user base increases, can the product or service adapt? Is it still commercially viable when it is scaled up, both in features and capacity? Exciting prizes will be given to the top 3 startups. Third place will receive 75,000 pesos cash, 5G smartphones for all team members from Smart, and 1-year contract of beyond fiber connectivity from PLDT Enterprise. Second place will receive 100,000 cash, 5G smartphones for all team members from Smart, 1-year contract of beyond fiber connectivity from PLDT Enterprise, and a 40 Wi-Fi 60E router from Fortinet. And for the first place, 150,000 pesos in cash, 5G smartphones for all team members from Smart, 1-year contract of beyond fiber connectivity from PLDT Enterprise, and a 40 Wi-Fi 60E router from Fortinet. In addition to the top 3 winners, we will also be giving cash prizes to the 4th and 5th startups. 4th prize will receive 50,000 pesos and 25,000 pesos for the 5th prize. Now, let us formally introduce our esteemed panel of judges for this year's PLDT and Smart Startup Innovation Challenge. The first judge is the first Vice President and Head of PLDT Smart Corporate Sustainability Office, Ms. Melissa Vergel de Dios. Next is the Vice President and Head of PLDT Enterprise Innovations, IoT Business Development, Mr. Melvin Jeffrey C. Chan.
Each other last time during the mentorship program. So good luck for today. We're looking forward to seeing your pitch today. Thanks.
Thank you, Melvin. Our third judge is the Vice President and Head of PLDT Smart Technology Strategy and Transformation Office, Mr. Arvin Shena. Hi, Arvin.
Hello. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. It's a pleasure to be the judge for today's competition. I wish you all the best, and I think it's going to be an exciting afternoon.
And it indeed will be. Thank you, Arvin. Next is the PLDT and Smart Consultant for Strategic Partnerships and Revenue Operations, Mr. Espen Warendorf. Hi, Espen.
Hello. Exciting. Thank you.
Thank you. And our fifth judge is the Vice President and Head of PLDT Enterprise Business, Ms. Maria Delia Ding Villarino.
Hi, I'm really happy to be here, and I'm happy to hear about and watch all of our participants and hear about what they have to offer that can impact our world, our country, and our lives. Good luck to everybody.
Indeed, the game changers are here with us today. Thank you, Ding. And on our list of judges, final on the list is the Executive Director of Kubo Innovation Hub and Idea Space Philippines, Ms. Katrina Rauza-Chan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Really excited to hear the pitches from the startups today. And congratulations, PLDT Smart, on hosting your first Startup Innovation Challenge. Hopefully the first of many. Good luck to our startups pitching. I hope everyone in their audience is rooting for them too. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Katrina. And welcome to everybody here on this platform and on a very auspicious day. Let us witness this game-changing event, solutions of our top 10 startup finalists, starting off with Carga X. The floor is yours, Carga X.
Hi, my name is Jack and I'm the founder for Carga X. Carga X is a platform that connects businesses to reliable, accredited trucking companies. Before I talk more about that, I'd like to explain and just tell you a story about why Carga X came out to be and what inspired us to build Carga X. I've been in the tech industry for the past 12 years and been involved with companies such as Rocket Internet's Easy Taxi, My Kuya, My Cab, expanding their operations from Cebu to other parts of the country. But I've also been involved with companies such as Transportify as its business development manager and Lalamove as the city managing director for Cebu. But more importantly, what gave me that unique perspective is my experience with Ninja Van, having started Ninja Van's operations here in the Philippines and subsequently becoming its head of national expansion, where I had the unique perspective of being a shipper, being a client that requires trucking services to transport, to take our cargoes from our warehouses all over the Philippines to another point. And this gave me the idea or gave me a unique perspective about the problems of the industry. So particularly for shippers, the industry is very fragmented. It's disconnected. There's just no central platform out there for a company to look for a reliable trucking partner. The meetup is usually cold calls, very manual, joining Facebook groups. And the typical triggers for carrier sourcing is, specifically during peak demands, whenever a 3PL such as, Ninja Van, or a courier company such as Ninja Van closes new accounts or new business units, and we will need to supplement our fleet. So we will need to go out there and look for more fleet. There's also the post-performance evaluation and the pricing review, and very often vehicle malfunction, which is actually one of our bigger problems, especially the more volume of trucks that you need. More problem as a shipper is essentially just the fleet management. It's very manual. It's offline. It's typically done in Excel spreadsheets. There's just no platform out there that provides fleet management. There's also the under optimization of our cargo. So because it's not very easy to look for trucks. It's also not very easy to look for smaller trucks. So instead, we are paying full truckload for a less than truckload shipment. And lastly, there's no traceability. There's no traceability from our side where the truck is in real time. What is the status? Has it been received? There's also no visibility on the consignee where the truck is in real time, and so on. But the problem isn't just on the shipper side. In fact, I think the brunt of the problem is actually more experienced by the trucking companies, the carriers. There's a disconnected, the industry is disconnected, it's fragmented, there's no platform, there's the rising cost of fuel and the high cost of maintaining your own sales team. But more importantly, the bigger problem is simply just the empty miles, or as the SA and German Technical Cooperation put it, the truck running without any cargoes or under optimized load. According to the SA German Technical Cooperation study done in 2018, about 56.1% of all trucks inbound to Metro Manila are empty or under optimized. You can appreciate this as trucks that are based out of Metro Manila that found the cargo that needs to be transported outside of Metro Manila. Because they don't have a sales team in the area, because they don't have any marketing campaigns in the area, the typical scenario is that those trucks will come back to Metro Manila as empty or under optimized. On the flip side, you have the trucks that are about 35.4% of all trucks outbound from Metro Manila are trucking companies that are based out of the other provinces, the other regions that needed to transport an item to Metro Manila but came back empty or under optimized. All while paying the same toll cost, the same operational fees, the same manpower cost, and the same fuel cost. So the solution we've come up with is to create a democratized marketplace. It's a platform that allows shippers to see multiple trucking company options. So the shipper can place a booking on a platform, choose the vehicle type that he wants, and he will be met with, or he will be introduced to all these trucking companies who will then give them their quotation. Because of these options, the shipper has multiple options of trucking companies, and trucking companies have multiple options of shippers to choose from. We are seeing the best price being traded on our platform regularly. In fact, we've seen shippers reduce their transportation cost anywhere from 10 to 30% simply because they met with a trucking company that would take it for a backload rate, or a rate that is not typical, essentially just a rate for them to get back. To have a load to get back to their point of origin. We've also seen some trucking companies that have a full front load and back load trip all throughout. Our growth has been, well, we just started about 4 months ago and officially started opened our web app by August. We've seen a 533% month-on-month growth between September and August, and about 220% compounded monthly growth rate across the 4 months. We are also seeing a 91% B2B client retention rate simply because of the value proposition that they experience from our platform. And our average basket size is about 22,000 pesos per booking. We have expanded to regions all over the Philippines. We do have offline acquisition efforts, but majority of our fleets were onboarded from our digital acquisition channels. And these are the brands that trust us. We're currently working with some manufacturing companies as well as some third-party logistics services providers such as San Miguel Logistics and Morrison Express. And I think there's a great opportunity for CargoX to be working with Metro Pack movers, given our fleet and our distribution all over the country. And if you would appreciate technology, we'd be very happy to join the Smart and PLDT environment community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carga X. Now let us all welcome the presence of the judges. If you've got any questions or queries, please raise your hand and I'll call you out. We've got 5 minutes to do this. Judges, your turn. Yes, Melvin, I see you raising your hand.
Thank you, Cargo X, for your presentation. May I ask, what's your financial plan? What's your roadmap, and when do you expect to break even, if you have?
Well, thank you, Melvin. At the current rate, we're expecting. Sorry. At the current rate that we're going, given that we are going to follow through the same trajectory that we've seen over the past few months, we're looking at a sustainability in around the 5th or the 6th month period, and an ROI by this time next year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melvin. Katrina.
Thanks for your presentation, Melvin. I guess my question is, you talked about a few features. How far along are you in actually deploying a lot of these things? And out of the ones that you have deployed, what's been getting the most traction from your customers?
Okay, great. So as of 2.5 weeks ago, we released our mobile app. It's a fully functioning mobile app. So it's the shippers are now able to use it, place their bookings using their mobile app as well as the carriers. It is on, we are on the last iteration of the mobile app, but we are looking at adding other features such as, like backload prioritization, among other things. But as an MVP, it is a fully functioning product, and it can be used through web app and mobile app, both on the shipper and the carrier side.
Thank you, Katrina. Ding, did I see you raise your hand?
Yes. So I just wanted to ask, so what is the main difference between you and the likes of Transportify or Lala Move? So is it really just about, the island to island distance, meaning you can do province to province? What other unique value proposition do you have to offer?
Great. Okay. Very good question. So we have, I think one of the key differentiators between us and the existing tech players is that we are a democratized marketplace. We don't, as you book for Lala Move or Transportify, they will assign a trucker to you. They will assign a driver to you. They will tell you what the rate is. In our case, because we are looking at the opportunity for the backload pricing, we allow the carriers and the truckers to see multiple options, as well as the shippers see multiple trucking options. And allow them to negotiate on the rates. We don't set the rates ourselves. We don't set the base fare and per kilometer from then onwards. We allow them to negotiate on the platform through our chat function. And we did this simply because we've seen some use cases whereby we have shippers that are actually reducing, or we've seen use cases where shippers reduce their cost from 10 to 30% simply because they got a truck that is returning towards their origination point, right? So normally, the traditional transactions is that when you're looking to ship a cargo from Metro Manila to Cagayan de Oro, you would look for a trucking company based out of Metro Manila. But there are instances, and we've seen this happen on our platform, where a Metro Manila-based client booked for a Metro Manila to Cagayan de Oro shipment and instead got a Cagayan-based trucking company that just so happened to be in Metro Manila at that time. And, we're willing to take that shipment back to Cagayan de Oro at a much reduced cost than a forward load. So these are the backload rates. And this is one of the reasons why we kept our platform democratized.
We've got 90 seconds
Yes.
to go, Arvin. Go for it.
Yeah. So just want to understand the how it operates now. So the if I'm a small trucker, so do you have any particular qualification who can be the trucks or logistics company that can participate in this kind of scheme? No, is there any how do you call it
The accreditation
pre-qualifications?
process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So all the trucks that we allow on the platform goes through a strenuous accreditation processes from requiring this business permits, BIR 2303, so they'd be able to invoice like to issue ORs, and most especially LTFRB franchises, just to ensure that these are legitimate trucking companies and that there will be no potential setbacks with the shipment. On top of that, we provide up to 3 million peso in marine cargo insurance coverage for all transactions done on our platform. This is just for added security for the shippers, and even if the trucking company doesn't have sufficient marine cargo insurance policy.
So there's certain protection as to the shippers, no, is
Yes, sir.
concerned in their cargo. And what about the rates? No, how do you negotiate? Is there predefined rates per destination, for example, from Cagayan de Oro to Manila or etc., or is it really arbitrarily decided based on the supply and demand?
It is decided by the shipper and trucking company that would be interested on the booking.
And our 5 minutes is up. Thank you so much, judges in Caraga X. Let us now all welcome our next team, Wella School System. The floor is yours, Team Wella.
Hi, my name is Christian Casino, and I am the sales and marketing head of Wella School System. Wella is from the word escuela, and we are funded and supported by these institutions. And for the past 4 years, we have raised 14 million pesos in funding. Here are the problems we are solving. Imagine that the teachers with an average class of 30 students will find it hard to monitor each student if also they are burdened with paperwork in the school. And the relations to that, parent does not have the peace of mind not knowing the going ons of their child in the school after they leave home. Now, with Wella, teachers won't have a hard time processing their grades anymore. They will just submit their e-class record to the system and they will be able to view the report, such as the report card, the master sheets, DepEd school forms, and other reports. And using an artificial intelligence, teachers can easily monitor their class or student performance per quarter using the Wella Analytics report. And the parents will have a mobile application that they can simply download via Google Play and Apple Store so they can easily monitor their child performance and check their student accounts whenever they want to. And this is our value proposition compared to the traditional process in making academic report. It is 86% less time to make with Wella and 75% paperworks and Excel sheets compared to their traditional setup. And compared to our competitor, it is 93% lesser time to deploy. Here is our target market. It is the private K to 12 schools in the Philippines, including the colleges. For K to 12 alone, it has business value of 3 billion pesos. And compared to other provider, Bola School System have the most complete services and module that the school need, from school management system to online payment, accounting, RFID, mobile application, and the learning management system. And currently, we are partnered with 150 plus school nationwide and few in abroad, from preschool to college. And our traction to date, our business model is a software as a service, and we bill our school 100 pesos per month per student for 10 months only. And as you can see, this is our revenue from year 2017 to 2020. For over the years, the company has been sustainable and profitable with little funding, and we believe that we can do more. With the collaborations and teamwork of the management team with Mr. Chris Ian Fiel, our CTO, together with Mr. John Vincent Fiel, our CEO, and at your service, I'm Christian Casino, the sales and marketing head of the team. We are confident to our projections. And this is our projection for the next 4 years. We can and we are confident to double our revenue. And we believe that with PLDT's network as well as technologies and vision, we can conquer the education technology industry. Well as cutting edge technology can scale with less manpower and resource. Right now, we even have schools for Aslawag and Basilan, and our office is just in Cagayan, Mindanao. Cagayan de Oro, Mindanao. How much more if we were able to partner with Philippine giant tech PLDT? We are hoping and excited that PLDT will partner with us and make this edutech a better world. Once again, my name is Christian Casino, and I am from Bola School System. Keep safe and God bless you.
Wella School System. Judges, you may now ask your questions to Team Wella. Again, you may use the raise hand button if you have any questions for Wella. Do I see a raising of the hands, judges? Arvin, go for it.
Yes, Christian, right? So good afternoon, and thank you for that presentation. So it seems that you have a very promising projection, no? It's at 327 million in how many years, no? It's very optimistic. And my question is about the sustainability of your software, no, or your application. So what's your plan when you have that huge amount of revenue already, meaning you're serving a lot of customers? How do you ensure the sustainability in the development of your application or your system?
To answer that, sir, so right now we are using a scalable architecture. So we are using the latest and advanced technology of Google. So all our sites are multi-tenant, meaning it can host multiple sites and with a less cost. So regardless how many clients we will be acquiring, the cost would be minimal, and it auto scales because of the demand also.
So there's no, as far as software limitation is concerned, there's no limits as to how many students you can host, no? And of course, because it's in the cloud, your capacity is easily scalable. Is that what you're saying, right?
Yes, that's right.
But I think my question is the sustainability of the application itself, no? So if there are changes, if there are modifications or upgrades that you need to do in your software, do you have a team of programmers and in your team that handles that?
Yes, we do. Right before we started Wella, we are doing consultancy. We are active in open source community, so we have a pool of developers in our back doing all this stuff. And yes, the framework that we have now is pretty much customizable, and yes, it's sustainable even in the next years to come.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Arvin. Ding, go for it.
Yeah, so Christian, so who are your client references? Are they all just within the Cagayan, right?
So right now, we have schools all over the Philippines.
Okay.
Majority is in Mindanao. We have 50 plus in Luzon, and then we have just started in Visayas. We have around, I think, 10, and then the rest of the 155 is in Mindanao.
Oh, okay. Quite a number, quite a lot. Okay, so I take it that what you monitor or what the progress report that you are able to provide the parents are the grades and attendance, right? So is there anything else that you have lined up in the future? What else would you also want to monitor moving forward?
Yeah, so since we have a pool of schools now and number of students, we kind of be adding a tutorial feature. So right now our business model is through software as a service, right? So there will be a cap as to the revenue that we'll be getting. So for us to have a scalable revenue, we will be adding tutorial feature that will be channeled to our schools or existing users in our platform.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ding. Espen, you're next.
Yeah, I guess to increase your base, you have to win over the teachers. The teachers are your starting point. So what is your plan to get a wider audience, more teachers to accept this and take on this app?
So for the past months and years, we've been doing upskilling from for teachers. So we're doing free webinars or events. So for us to attract the education sector or the teachers. So we've been doing that, and then also we've been sponsoring event major associations in the education industry here in the Philippines.
Great, thanks.
Our 5 minutes are up. Thank you so much. Well, next team to present is Olivia. The floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Jox Fantastico, founder of Olivia, and we automate the accounts payables process. Expense management is really tedious and manual and really frustrating for employees. Accounting staff need to spend at least 4 minutes to process a single accounts payable receipt or invoice. And most of that time is spent for encoding, checking, and rechecking entries. Yeah? So Olivia automates this process and saves companies at least 50% on lost efficiencies and foregone input VAT credits. Employees can generate an expense report by scanning a receipt with our mobile app. Receipt details are then extracted and auto-filled, reducing the need for manual encoding. All they need to do is check the fields. Now, users can also dictate an expense. So say something like, Olivia, nagrab ako noong October 8, 250 pesos. And it's recorded. For invoices, accounting staff can bulk upload them into our web app called Olivia Smart Extract. And the same algorithms will extract invoice details and parse them into the appropriate fields. Now, during audits, staff can quickly search for expense items either by merchant or supplier, invoice date, or any other field that they require. And reports are generated in one click and exported into Excel. They're complete, compliant, and contain a link to the image of the invoice or receipt in the cloud. Our patent-pending language and image processing technology is trained to recognize Philippine receipts and invoices. Thus, Olivia is able to recognize more receipt and invoice details than existing software. For Olivia Biz, our mobile app, it's much faster and therefore more convenient than competitors like Expensify and Concur. For example, one of them only recognizes 3 fields and takes a few hours to return a result, most likely because they're using human Turks to encode and to fill up information. For Olivia, we're able to generate a report within seconds of scanning the expenses because we use AI and don't rely on any human intervention. So we tested Olivia also against other RPA software, and our Smart Extract technology was faster and has achieved greater accuracy. Now, this is because most RPAs tend to use templates, whereas our approach involves analyzing text and content, which is faster when you have thousands of different formats of receipts and invoices, which we have in the Philippines. So we've achieved, it's not 100% accurate, but we have outperformed existing players in terms of processing Philippine invoices and receipts. We have very warm proposals with several accounting firms and SMEs. And in fact, we started feeding their invoices into our algorithms to start the setup process. We have a very balanced team. My background is business development and P&L management across Southeast Asia. And Paul, our CTO, is a very experienced software engineer and cross-platform app developer. Pocholo, our advisor, is a veteran accounting and audit professional and is a partner with one of the big 4 accounting firms. Now, PLDT has thousands of employees in the field and probably just as many supplier invoices to process. And they're likely spending millions monthly just on expense processing alone. Olivia can save PLDT at least 50% of these costs. So we're asking for a discovery meeting with the PLDT Smart Accounting and Finance teams so that we can explore 2 use cases. One is for automating AP invoice processing with our web app and the mobile app for people in the field, okay, to be able to submit expense reports from wherever they are. So we want to be a part of PLDT Smart's digitization initiatives and help you work towards an efficient, fast, and error-free accounts payables process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Team Olivia. Let us now welcome back our judges for their questions. Do I see a raising of the hands? Espen? And then Melvin. Go for it, Espen.
I was just asking, are you live today? And what are the clients base that you have and how have you got them?
Yes, so we are live today. So we have more B2C users, but that's mainly to get, it's almost like crowdsourcing receipts that we can train our algorithms with. But in terms of paying clients, we are actually in the process of onboarding a few accounting firms at the moment and also some SMEs. So we're going to do that over the next few weeks.
And then just a quick follow-up. What is your plan on the go-to-market for this?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question because we are actually, our first target are accounting firms because this year we tried to approach directly SMEs and found that to be almost like a B2C approach, which is very expensive. So we're actually targeting to have by next year 200 accounting firms onboarded, and each of them have at least 50 clients. So, you know, in one go, we're able to hit so many SMEs, and that's more efficient. That's how we're able to keep our costs down.
Thank you.
Thank you, Espen.
Thank you, Espen.
Thank you, Olivia, and thank you, for your presentation. My quick question is, what's your commercial model, in case I missed that, and what's your projection if return of investment? Thank you.
Right. So our it's a subscription model. There's no capex required. And for example, for a mobile app, a company needs to just pay $199 per user per month. And then for the web app, it depends. It's a sliding scale. So if you have about 1,000 invoices for accounts teams to bulk upload, that's about 5,000 pesos. And obviously, the more invoices, the cost per invoice goes down. So that's the model. So we are expecting around 90% retention because they do need to keep. Also included in the plan and the payment is 3 years of cloud storage. So they do need. And also tax, as you know, tax requirements, they need to keep the receipt images for at least 7 years. Yeah. So in terms of profitability, we are aiming to hit profitability by the first quarter of 2023, because next year we'll really be aggressive on acquisition and getting as many accounting firms and SMEs out there.
Thank you, Melvin. Arvin?
Yeah, I have a question about the accuracy. So you've mentioned that it's about camera scanning or taking picture, your mobile phone taking picture of the receipt. How is the accuracy so far in terms of percentage? Because sometimes it depends on the camera of the device and the translation. Does it mean that when you have to scan it, you have to check all the fields all the time if the software captures it properly?
Yeah, so it's not 100%, and depending on the quality of the receipt, if it's really gusot na gusot, then it's probably around 70%. But if it's fairly fresh from the POS, then we could reach about 95% accuracy. For invoices, we also get things like the invoice is a paid stamp there, and there's a date. We're also able to capture that, and that's really how we are customized to Philippine receipts. So yes, they do need to check after they scan a receipt. They have to check the entries.
So just curious, why Olivia?
Oh, Olivia comes from the olive tree. So no one in the company is Olivia, and my daughter's name is not Olivia either. Olive tree, and the olive tree lives for about 500 to 1,000 years. And really, our mission is all about being stewards, good stewards, financial stewards. And first part of that is having transparency on what companies are spending.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arvin. We've got less than a minute, and I'm going to take both Kat and Ding. If you could just keep it brief, Kat.
So, how is this like not a vitamin, but a painkiller? You mentioned up to 50% savings. Like, where is that going to actually come from? And how much customization would be required for an enterprise, adoption of this into a much bigger, presumably, accounting system?
Yeah, so anyway, in our roadmap, we're already looking at ERP integrations by next year. There will still be some customization, but that's not a lot. Integration and, people can learn, accounting staff and employees can learn how to use the app, both the web and mobile app, in about 15 minutes. If you can click and drag, or you can take a picture, then you're quite okay. So yeah, it's very, very easy on the integration side.
Ding,
do we have?
Hi. So I'm just curious. Are you the first in the country or first in the world to offer this? I mean, it's really interesting. I've used SAP Concur, and you still have to attach the receipt. You have to encode it yourself. But with this one, you transcribe it automatically, like someone speaking the news, and everything is already transcribed, right?
Yes. So we are the first in the Philippines. We are not the first. Or globally, there are companies like Expensify, but exactly the same technology, no, not really. And we are the first actually in the world to combine scan and dictate. And as you can see, I can speak in Tagalog, English, or Taglish as well.
Right. Okay. So you mentioned a while ago that today, the way that you charge is per user, right? Regardless of how many invoices you are actually, processing.
So no, so the 199 for the mobile app, that's for about 50 expenses saved, and we found that that's already more than enough. And for the web app, it doesn't matter how many users you have in the company, but it's by how many invoices you scan. So for 1,000 invoices, those are the big ones like this, the A4 ones. So that's about 5,000.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
So sorry, Kat, to answer your question, Kanina, what is the pain really? The pain is really the fact that, of course, there's the time, but there's also the emotional part of it, that people really hate manual encoding, and also the accounting associates feel they are resigning from their jobs because they said, I spent so many years getting and applying and doing all these tests and passing all these exams, and all I'm doing is encoding. So that's really the pain.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Olivia. Let us now all welcome our next team, PacketWorks. Go for it, PacketWorks.
Good afternoon. I'm Arnold Bagabaldo, founder and CEO of PacketWorks. We are an IoT company. We design and develop low-cost, wireless, easy-to-install, and low-power devices. We work with enterprises and partners that have access to large customer bases. These are utility companies, telcos, real estate companies, and large system integrators. In the past 3 years, we've designed and developed over 30 devices and continue to develop new devices. We own the IP on these devices, And these are locally designed and manufactured by Filipino talents and engineers. With the imminent return to work or return to office by workers, DOH and DOLE are requiring offices to install air quality sensors and log air quality conditions inside offices. This could be a very tedious and time-consuming exercise when done manually. Our solution is Packet Air Workspace. It's an indoor air quality monitoring system that monitors and logs temperature, humidity, CO2, total volatile organic compound, formaldehyde, and particulate matter. This complies with the DOLE compliance monitoring requirements. It's very easy to install. You just scan the QR code at the back of the device, attach it to a wall, and view the data via our web and mobile app. It comes in two flavors. One is with display, and one is without. We have complementary devices that uses the same system. We have temperature monitoring devices, room temperature and humidity monitoring for data centers and offices, smart metering for power and water, door sensors and movement sensors for safety and security, smart parking, and lastly, office occupancy and people counting. All of these devices work with our Packet Things web and mobile app. It's cloud-based, enterprise-friendly, supports white labeling, customizable alerts, and it also supports multi-tenant, multi-location setups. In fact, we have a demo installation at PLDT InnoLab, and you can access the dashboard using the link below. Packetworks over the years have addressed over 100 POCs and pilots, spanning multiple verticals. We can develop custom devices in 45 to 60 days from concept to working devices. The devices are delivered pre-configured. There's no need for wireless configuration, and and device management is centralized, minimizing the local support requirement. Together with PLDT, we propose to resell Packetworks' offering for smart office, smart living applications. Initially, Packetworks can supply everything from the device to the web and mobile app, and PLDT might be able to co-sell or resell. In intermediate timeline, we can integrate with PLDT's IoT platform. So we supply the devices and the last mile, and PLDT will use its own IoT platform to offer a complete solution to its customer base. Long term, Packetworks can even develop PLDT for its 5G network or LoRaWAN. So Packetworks can supply custom devices, and ePLDT will be providing the last mile connectivity and platform to offer IoT solutions to its customer base. We've been in the industry for the past 3 years, focusing just on IoT. So we've had a lot of projects. Most of them have passed pilot and are in commercial implementation in the next couple of months or quarters. We have a growing community of IoT supporters. This again spans different verticals, from anywhere from utility companies to telcos to real estate and international and local system integrators. Our mission is to accelerate the adoption of IoT in the country. So if PLDT is interested in reselling or using our devices for its customer base, we're more than happy to talk. You can reach us at info@packetworks.com or call us at the number provided below. Again, I'm Arnold from Packetworks. Thank you.
Thank you, Packetworks. Judges, you may now ask your questions to Team Packetworks. Again, you may raise your hand virtually if you have any questions for Packetworks. Arvin.
Yes, thanks for the presentation. So what technology are you using for the connectivity of these devices?
Sure. We're using LoRaWAN In fact, we're the first and only operator for LoRaWAN in the Philippines.
And what's the frequency?
EU 868. Philippines is also allowed AS 923-3, but that was just recent. Before it was just EU 868. It's unlicensed frequency.
It's in the low band frequency. Sorry, I get lost of my.
Yeah, sub gigahertz. 868 megahertz, around that.
868 megahertz.
Yes.
So that's where that's the design of your devices at 868 megahertz.
Yes, it's actually an international standard.
So
it's SRD sub gigahertz frequency.
So you're putting up some kind of a base station that will provide signal to all of these devices, no?
Yes. So far we have around 450 base stations all over Metro Manila and some key cities like Cebu and Davao.
So you have this in place already?
Yes, we have around 450 base stations currently.
And what's the range of one base station in?
It depends. In urban situations, it's about 1 to 2 kilometers. In rural situations, for example, we have a base station in One San Miguel building, and it can receive a signal from a device in Tagaytay, transmitting at between 25 to 100 milliwatt EIRP. That's 51 kilometers away.
Okay, wow.
Yep.
And what's the bandwidth in the 868 megahertz?
Well, LoRaWAN is LP1, low power wide area network. So we're only transmitting telemetry data. We try to keep the payload below 51 bytes per transmission.
Oh. All right. All right. In these devices, you mentioned that most of these are locally manufactured.
Yes, they are.
Is that correct?
Yes, they are.
So what sort of devices do you have right now?
We have over 30 temperature, humidity, temperature probes, ultrasonic distance sensors, door sensors, magnetic sensors, intrusion detection system. We also partner with some manufacturers like water meters, electric meters. We have devices that can attach to electric meters and can uplink readings from electric meters.
Okay. So you have working system already at this point, no?
We do. We have around 20,000 devices so far deployed. Our biggest installation is 1,000 devices in one location.
So what's the business outlook in terms of your target? Is it really more for the enterprise, or you're also looking at the consumer space?
We'd like to work with enterprises like PLDT to reach large customer bases. We don't have the wherewithals to target retail or consumer business. Instead, we go through large enterprises like, again, utility companies, telcos, real estate companies.
All right. I'm just worried of the time because we've hit about a minute and we've got 3 judges raising their hands. No worries, Arvin. Really interesting discussion there.
Right.
I could probably take just one judge if that's all right. Katrina.
Cool that you geeked out there. We say hardware is hard, right? So, are you making any of these devices? And I suppose, let's say PLDT's enterprise sales team really sells this to everyone, right? Like, how quickly can you deploy it? Yes. Office are opening, they want the monitoring system today. How easy is the customer going to be able to get that online? Tell us about that if you can.
Okay, in terms of manufacturing, right now we have our own pick and place machine and reflow oven. So we can manufacture around up to around 2,000, above 2,000, 5,000, between 2,000 to 5,000 and above. It's best to outsource that to an electronics manufacturing subcontractor. So that's the way we do it. In terms of deployment
to the customer,
deployment to the customer. Again, the devices are pre-configured. The devices are centrally managed, so all you need to do is when it reaches the customer premises, all you need to do is scan the barcode or QR code to enroll it to own the device, and then they can view the data on the mobile application or web application.
I had another question, but I think we're out of time. So
thank you so much, Katrina. Well, thank you so much, PacketWorks. Let's now move on to our next team, Dalitech. It is your turn.
Good day, esteemed panel, startup enablers, and fellow founders. I'm KL, CEO of Dalitech. Bloomberg says that people work 3 hours longer than usual nowadays. We've got so much to do, yet so little time. And at the most popular class of Yale, Professor Santos mentioned that time affluence is key for happiness, when you never feel like you're fighting for it. With that in mind, the future of work is bleak for employers, with 1 in 4 workers considering to quit and start working for themselves, wanting time over money. With all these rapid changes, how do we keep up? 7 years is the projected time when life returns to normal at today's vaccine rates. That's almost a decade worth of recovering the projected cost of the virus. That's $2.7 trillion. To put things into better perspective, we'll need $800 million an hour to save the global economy for 18 months. With every tick of the clock, we incur costs. There has to be a better way in public safety in automating smart cities. Now we stick to the basics and optimize our most valuable resource, time. That's why our team, Dalitech, develops contactless palm vein scanners to help busy professionals ages 18 to 35 feel not just greater safety outdoors, but save time in transactions with a mere wave of the palm. Why not other biometrics? Fingerprints and iris scans require contact and can still be forged. Voice can be altered, especially in loud environments. And in an MIT study, facial scans had error rates of 35% higher. On the flip side, palm veins need live blood flow to be detected and have the least false rejection or acceptance rates among all biometrics, the most secure and hygienic during and after pandemic. With Dalitech's unique palm waving technology, you prevent robbery with cash, phishing scams on cards, or stolen passwords for mobile transactions. And users enjoy the peace of mind and convenience, while save time for businesses, including airlines, means greater operational efficiency. A win-win for both. To talk more about how we can work this partnership, I'll let Erwin, our CSO, lead the conversation.
Hello, esteemed judges. My name is Erwin, and I'm the CSO of Dalitech. So we've spent the last month working with smart PLDT groups' respective leaders to understand the most pressing challenges, test APIs, and help paint the future forward toward sustainable development goals. It's quite exciting to look at the possibilities between Dalitech and PLDT Smart Group of companies in the next 5 years. One of the initial verticals we are currently ready to implement are the palm wave scans for efficient timekeeping systems. In testing our technology, it takes less than 5 seconds for the scanners to detect and record the palm veins of our users. And currently, we are at 97% at 240 samples. Quick timekeeping for more than 4,000 PLDT employees helps in streamlining the operational processes while creating an efficient and productive workplace. In 2023, diverse verticals will take the center stage, healthcare being one of them. We're aiming for an enhanced public safety and customer experience, giving hospitals and patients a secure way to store and access medical records for efficient health management. In 2024, we go back to the roots of how Dalitech started, and that's with continuing the development for better payment systems, doubling down on IoTs, AI, and 5G processes. Democratizing access to financial services to the unbanked with palm vein prints as identification is one of the assets we can further develop using the now live 4,000 5G sites and messaging services of Smart. This puts PayMaya and Maya Bank at the forefront of banking and finance for remote and rural communities. With automation, you could save business 4 million annually, but there is no way to put a price on the time that is saved. Our business model will be B2B through a one-time device installation and an optional subscription upgrade for server maintenance or 5G capabilities. Our competitors are big. Amazon, Apple, and Fujitsu are also in the early stages of pilot testing their palm waving technology, which means it will definitely take time for them to reach Asia. So this is why we come in now. As a startup with agile systems to make compact and mobile palm vein scanners, which can be big or small, than your gadgets depending on your needs. Dalitech has a highly diverse set of founders with over 50 years of experience in tech, social innovation, and business development. Through our combined strong relationships in Asia, extending across Silicon Valley, we've developed prototypes to test accuracy rates. We're ready to develop the future of smart cities with Smart and PLDT. Dalitech, power through your palms, wave of the future.
Now the presence of First Vice President and Head of PLDT Smart Corporate Sustainability Office, Ms. Melissa Vergel de Dios. Melissa joins us now for our panel from here on out. Judges, you may now start to ask your questions to Team Dalitech. You may raise your hands virtually to call our attention. Kat?
I actually did not have my hand raised, but hello, congratulations.
All right, I saw it earlier.
Oh, yeah, like I think I failed to put it down from the previous session. But anyway, that was really cool, interesting. Actually, I recently did like the PhilSys scan, right, where they took your biometrics and your iris and everything. Like, do you see yourself having some kind of similar repository to identify people from their palms and palm readings, I guess? And second to that, yeah, like what do you see as like challenges in terms of security and data privacy when it comes to this form of identification?
Yeah, I believe I can take that question. Yes, like what you've mentioned, there are lots of biometrics out there. When you go to PhilSys, they'll be taking your the eye and your thumbprint. It's also the same thing, but we're using palm vein, and the claim is that it is much better than those biometrics out there by far. This is the most accurate so far that we have that we know of. So at least in terms of accuracy, we're confident that this is going to be a more secure way of doing biometrics compared to other approaches. And then with regards to your question about security, yes, we're definitely going to put systems in place so that the customers are ensured that their data is secured. We're going to follow the ISO for biometrics too. There's a dedicated ISO for biometrics. It's, if I remember correctly, let me quickly check. It's ISO 19989. So we'll be following that in the future as we improve our product.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. We've got 3 minutes and 3 judges with hands raised. Melvin.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. It's an interesting concept. I see that you say you are looking at the IoT 5G and payment, right? So from a 5G perspective, can you elaborate a little bit more? Yeah, on the 5G side. So you mentioned that you also focus on 5G as well. Can you elaborate that a little bit more?
Okay, so actually, we've mentioned earlier that we're going to do this in milestone development sprints, right? So the first phase is the employee timekeeping, second phase is the healthcare, and then third would be going back to the roots of how Dalitech started, which is on payments. Now, our device is actually designed to be a standalone one, meaning that you won't need to power it with computers. So imagine it like a mini computer that it's compact and portable on its own. And because of that, we're able to democratize access to financial services to the unbanked using the palm vein as their identification. And it's one of the assets that we can further develop using the now live 4,000 5G sites and messaging services of Smart. And because of this puts PayMaya and MyBank that's launching next year at the forefront of the banking and finance of remote and rural communities.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Melvin. Espen?
Hello, exciting. I was wondering when you foresee your solution to be, I don't know, 99.9999, so it kind of works all the time, and also that it can be done in, I don't know, in terms of milliseconds and not in seconds. So it's kind of one time that will happen. When do you foresee that will happen if you get the scale?
I believe we can do that in less than a year. Currently, we're only getting 97% accuracy because we don't have much samples, right? But when we scale this up and we get more users, where we can test out our algorithms, we can train it to those lots of users, and eventually it will learn those patterns more accurately. So I believe we can definitely do that in less than a year, just a few months. As for the inference time that is taking about 5 seconds, it can definitely improve. Right now, the inference time in the server is just a few milliseconds. What's taking time is sometimes the transmission of the data from the hardware to our cloud, and additionally, we're going to offload some of our algorithms that is currently in the hardware to the cloud as well. So eventually, we think that it's going to be just a few milliseconds actually, with just a few months of effort.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Espen. Well, we've run out of time, but thank you so much, Dalitech. That ends the half of this pitching competition. Let's just pause for a moment and take a break and resume in 5 minutes. So see you then.
Video is opening up new markets for us with their disruptive technology, giving us the ability to not just address the classical video conferencing room-based solutions, but also unique applications which have not been possible before.
It's very important to ensure high quality to the end customers. They just expect quality as a commodity nowadays.
Video is very much a leader in the marketplace, and from our point of view, it offers what our customers want in terms of the quality of the experience, the end user experience, and also the flexibility to work across a range of technology vendors.
The platform is very easy to scale up, and this is very important for a mobile operator like Vodafone, but eventually we need to be able to scale up to millions of customers.
It's also a product that you can grow within an organization. So you don't have to start with everything. You can start small and grow the infrastructure that you need or the systems that you need as your company can either afford it or needs to grow with the product.
We studied the solution, and we thought that the SVC protocol that video is using is really innovative, and the most important thing is that it's really suitable to use with mobile devices.
We have a very entrepreneurial economy, so most businesses are relatively small enterprises. They run usually by 1 or 2 people, and because these companies are smaller companies, they often can't afford high-priced video conference systems in their boardroom. So they like the idea of the flexibility that video offers them, where in bigger sites they can do that, but in the smaller sites they can go with a desktop or mobile client.
Video is one of the successful products in the video conferencing market because it is able to adapt to any situations, and it's very flexible and can provide a solution to very different problematics that our customers could have.
The video APIs, this is really a very, very important thing to be available to us as partners. This is contributing now and going to contribute in the future, creating our software development team. So in order to provision solutions to our customers that are currently not available in the market.
With the APIs which are provided by video, we can certainly integrate the whole video experience into the agent desktop, and on the client side we are able to integrate the video experience into each and every application which is being provided by the enterprise to an end consumer. For us, it's a huge step forward, and we believe that we truly can swift and change the way customer experience works today.
It enables you to adapt to any situation. You can have a physical environment, you can have a virtual environment, or even a cloud environment.
Enabling video is not just a win for the enterprise, but it's also a win for the customer. So it helps the enterprise to close more deals and to increase their customer satisfaction.
Certainly, video has helped us to be very successful in our market, and I think going forward there's a lot of potential for growth.
We are the guardians of the cloud. We defend, we protect, we patrol, providing unified cloud security to over 4,000 customers. Shielding information for the world's largest banks. Securing data for the titans of retail. We are the soldiers for the Fortune 500. Standing 500 cloud developers strong. We are the champions of cybersecurity. Wherever there's a cloud, there's Checkpoint.
And continuing the pitch of our next set of finalists, may we call on screen Team Leon. The floor is yours, Team Leon.
Hi, I'm Jason, one of the co-founders of Lion, and I'm here today to present to you Lion for Business. So to give you a bit of a background about our company, we mostly work with a lot of creators, but we also work with a lot of businesses. And what we do for businesses is we help them create their very own communities. Especially today, where everything is digital, businesses need a way to connect with their stakeholders and promote collaboration. Their customers, partners, and stakeholders outside their organization need to be constantly updated with new products, offerings, policies, events, or different activities in the company. They also need to be engaged and delighted with the experiences your brand provides. One of the best ways to engage stakeholders and promote collaboration in 2021 is by building online communities. So some notable brands that have leveraged on building communities to solve this problem are Apple, Lego, Airbnb, and Sephora. These are companies that have experienced an ROI of up to 6,469% by having their very own communities, really turning in their customers and their partners into their fans. What makes communities really special is it allows you to facilitate collaboration and engage people in a way that is human and promote brand love. But the problem is most companies don't have the same level of infrastructure as these big brands do. And that's why we've created Lion. We give businesses the infrastructure to connect with stakeholders the same way big brands do with minimal costs. What we give them is a community space where they can connect with stakeholders and do business. Within these spaces or platform, they can connect with their stakeholders and keep them updated with latest products, offerings, and announcements. They can do individual or team collaborations with people outside their organization in a way that is organized, professional, and secure. They can also engage and delight these stakeholders with different kinds of activities like events, webinars, etc. And if they want to take it to the next level, they can also connect it with our different integrations like our LMS, storefront, analytics tool, and many more. So what we've created is a tool to create exclusive communities where you can connect better with your people. They can also avail of the different power-ups or integrations to add more features to deliver those ideal experiences. For this presentation, we also wanted to explore how PLDT might be able to use Lion for its operations. So throughout this whole engagement, we've talked to a bunch of people inside PLDT to try and identify pain points that we believe we can help you with. And after talking with them, these are some of the pain points that we believe we can really help with. We discovered that apparently we have Microsoft Teams for internal collaboration, but we have no centralized tool for channel partners or managing stakeholders outside the organization. We also find it a little bit challenging to optimize our onboarding because all of our tools are segmented and not working together. We're also finding it a little bit difficult to ensure security when sharing resources with people outside the organization, especially because all of these files and resources are highly confidential. Lastly, we need a little bit of help with managing community engagements like this one. And that's exactly what you can use Lion for. You can use Lion for having a PLDT channel partner community where they can stay updated with your latest announcements and do collaborations with you. You can also simulate your community programs like Showcase, Geek Night, Impact Hackathon, and even this one with Lion. So members like me can easily stay on top of your calendar of activities, who are the people here with me, and what are the benefits I can get from this program. So with Lion, you can promote discussion, communicate with stakeholders, and host exclusive webinars. You can organize your people, groups, communications, and secure your content. You can connect it with tools you're already using to really turn it into your ideal workspace, at the same time having that level of community engagement. You can also connect it to our LMS to onboard your channel partners and offer them secure courses in a way that's effective and efficient. You can also schedule meetings and connect it to your calendar, making it really easy for your partners and your customers to reach out to you or connect with you. We blow all of our competition out of the water because Lion is specifically designed for businesses that want to create collaborative communities. Businesses often just choose one or the other. They either have a collaborative tool but miss out on that having that human touch on engagements and promoting brand love, or they have a community but it lacks some of the intricacies needed to run a business. And when they try to have a different tool for both, there's a lot of overlaps, making the experience really complicated for the users. And that's what Lion is perfectly designed for, to build internal and external communities without compromising on experience. So these are some of the features that we have that really blow all of our competition out of the water. These are some of our partners, and we invite you to start building your relationships with your customers and partners today. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and we're Lion.
Team Lion. Judges, you have 5 minutes to ask your questions to Team Lion. You may again use the raise hand button so we can call you out. Sven.
Hello, thanks for the presentation. My question is, what if you're not selling into us? And what if you're selling to others? What is your approach then? Because I guess the ones that will pick this up will be kind of a comms department or a PR or a marketing department. So how would you go to market and convince them? Would you kind of wait for their call, or will you actively go out and sell your solution?
Yeah, actually, most of our clients right now are in MSMEs. We actually started in e-learning. We started with educational creators. So we created an LMS, but after creating the LMS, we figured that it's not enough to create a sustainable business. They needed the community product to be able to continually engage their students, offer free webinars, and eventually funnel them back into their paid services. So after we've created the community product for them, word got out, and actually a lot of businesses that wanted to build their communities reached out to us. Like, we were only initially planning on having 5 test partners, but now we're at up to 50. We have businesses like consulting companies who want to differentiate. Aside from their bread and butter services, they want to offer continuous customer engagement. They want to offer newsletters. They want to offer booking calendars and different kinds of services that's best fit for a community. So yeah, PLDT is actually a very special use case for us. Our main use cases are for creators and businesses and associations. And we're only now starting to explore the vertical of enterprise clients. And sorry, to add, as for our go-to-market strategy, we're targeting channel partners right now where we can hit like 5,000 clients from just talking to one person. on both verticals. And we're also planning to make it product led, wherein people can easily try it out and avail of premium services if they choose to.
Thank you.
Thank you, Espen. Melvin.
Thanks for presentation. And I saw that a while ago, one of the slide you talk about the competition. It looks actually quite crowded. So how are you going to proceed? Because what you lack, you might have a feature more advanced, but then you lack the branding. So how do you compete in that market? That's my question. Thanks.
As we mentioned, Lion is perfectly designed for building either internal or external communities. Some of these competitors fail to capture both. They either build communities but lack the engagement necessary to really deliver that value, or they only have collaborative tools wherein it's hard for people to really talk to each other. And for example, there's a lot of apps that do one-to-many collaboration. I post something, everyone sees it, but all of my followers can talk with each other, right? So we also saw that, for example, for PLDT, it can be an added channel for customer support, wherein it's not only a one-to-many communication, but members of your community can actually help each other out and see how they can find
All right.
value in your products and services.
Thank you. So I'll let the other judge ask the questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Melvin. That would be Ding.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, were you able to consider security and data privacy into your solution?
Yeah, actually, that's one of the most common questions. We do have documented policies for data management and risk management right now. But one of our goals going into next year is making sure that our product is ISO 27000 compliant and we're compliant with SOC 2 requirements.
Thank you, Ding. Anyone else for a final round? We've got about a minute and 15 seconds.
Ms. Katrina.
All right,
I
I see
one.
Katrina.
Yeah. So for your solution to work, do you need to build a new crowd, or are you kind of capturing people where they are already congregating, like where the communities already are? Because I suppose there are lots of these sort of platforms for communities to naturally congregate, or is this a solution to build an entirely new channel for your customers or your community, for example?
Yeah,
How do you see that work?
Yeah, actually, the product is designed for captured market already. It's not designed for like people you're trying to get in. It's really designed for retention. So the people you already know, for example, they attend one of your events, they permanently become a member of your community, and you can keep them constantly updated with what's new with your organization. Are you selling anything new? And on top of that, as compared to other community platforms, you can actually funnel these people into your paid services and business processes in a way that is seamless.
So a super basic question. Let's say as a member of that community, do I need to download another app or like monitor another new window regularly kind of thing? Like, yeah.
No, so you don't need to download another app. You can access it through any web browser, and it follows you on email. So if there's an update about the community, it updates you there. And we're implementing a gamification system where the more you interact with the community, the higher the points you get, and the community owners can like offer you some types of rewards.
Thank you, Katrina. And thank you, Team Lion. Now let us all welcome our next team, Steer. The floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Ram Makasait, and I'm one of Steer's Go Digital Evangelists. We're in the business of modernizing the construction industry. What we provide is a mobile-first fieldwork management solution for construction, repair, and maintenance. The $10 trillion construction industry is one of the largest but one of the least digitalized industries in the world. Around 70% of projects are delayed or over budget, and manual tracking of activities and materials on site is one of the primary reasons. In fact, we found that almost half of construction projects are losing money instead of making money. They need greater visibility and control over the entire business operations to thrive in the new normal. Manually managing construction materials leads to multiple issues that affect the company's profitability. Because materials management makes up a lion's share of the project's total cost, streamlining this area can lead to significant impact on the bottom line. This is also a problem area that we have validated time and time again in Indian and Philippine companies. Steer's flagship solution for site materials management improves project profitability through enhanced visibility and control over on-site construction materials. Steer empowers on-site teams to access and share information in real time with the head office and core systems. Materials management is one of the many business processes within the construction industry that Steer can digitalize. The enhanced visibility and control brought by going digital results in up to 17% cost savings and 78% productivity gains. In Steer, solutions are custom fit to the unique business processes that differentiate them. This enables taking an iterative plan, do, check, act approach to digital transformation. The unparalleled customizability is brought by the no-code engine behind Steer. This engine, called QuickReach, is a no-code platform that makes it easier for companies to go digital and roll out custom solutions in as fast as a few hours. Companies can easily build solutions without writing a single line of code, automate repetitive tasks, integrate with existing software, and generate insights in real time. Aside from creating paperless workflows and records on QuickReach, users can also produce reports to make sense of generated data, automate repetitive activities to reduce errors and improve efficiency, and enable self-service access for customers and suppliers to create a connected enterprise. What makes QuickReach even more powerful is its ability to be connected to other solutions that will trigger various activities inside QuickReach. These solutions include IoT devices, chatbots, and even other software. QuickReach can also be integrated back to core systems so that data that will be stored in real time without the need for manual encoding. Our team draws from 20 years of global software product engineering experience with its own dedicated 30-person team, backed by partners, investors, and advisors from across the world. In the course of the PLDT Smart Innovation Challenge, we've identified the following use cases for co-piloting. For the purpose of this presentation, we'll focus on the first two use cases. There are already existing accounts for port automation and hospital equipment tracking, and we also intend to explore creating a bundled offering for the two down the line. The first use case involves attaching sensors and IoT devices on industrial equipment to monitor various parameters and automatically trigger inspection and repair work by maintenance teams. This also applies to vehicles, whether it's a fleet of company cars or a fleet of heavy machinery. This use case presents earning opportunities on both the sensor and IoT hardware, as well as the mobile devices for maintenance teams. The second main use case is providing an easier way to connect construction site managers to head office teams and systems using Steer. As with the previous use case, this presents earning opportunities on the mobile and internet devices for project sites. We'd like to invite you to continue working with us to turn these use cases into full bundled offerings to the markets that can lead to repeatable sales. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Steer. Judges, you may now ask your questions to Team Steer. Melvin.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Quick question. When you say you plan to connect to the IoT devices, can you elaborate that a little bit more?
Sure. What we have is the software that you could customize to build any workflows that you want to build. Now, the IoT, we don't have any proprietary IoT device. So that's why we want to connect with the existing IoT devices out there and automatically trigger these workflows. And actually, one of our fellow finalists actually is something that's another company that we could work with.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Thanks, Melvin. Arvin.
Yes, just please help me understand, because you provided two use cases. One is maintenance, no?
Sure.
Equipment maintenance, and the other is on the construction. So I just want, is this a project management tool, or what is it? Is it a software that really provides all the inventory and automates everything in terms of maintenance, or what do you have in the construction? Please help me understand.
Sure. For the construction space, what we have right now as a flagship solution is for field materials management. So there is a lot of activity that is being done in terms of the, let's say, job site manager requesting for materials, and people at the head office, the procurement, doing the actual purchasing, and then that receiving the materials back in the site and managing the releasing of the materials as they are needed in the construction process. And that's a largely manual process right now. That
So
we're
it's really inventory management, right? And is there any, how did you automate that, or do you have any specific tools, or it's just the same thing that we have today, where you only have, the difference is you have that software instead of a regular expert Excel spreadsheet?
Aside from providing them with mobile forms that they could fill out and mobile tools to kind of monitor the progress of the materials that are being used, we do have an automation feature inside where you could apply business rules to automate, kind of like an RPA, that you could automate some of these decisions on behalf of, let's say, the management team.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Arvin. We've got about 2 minutes and 10 seconds. I see Espen raising his hand.
I have a short question. I can see the problems that you want to solve it's gigantic and it's very relevant. A lot of the times, at least in the industry we are kind of distributed far from the head office, etc. It is the compliance. Do you have any tools to ensure that what is entered in, because crap in, crap out, what is entered in is logical and kind of makes sense, and it's kind of that you're weeding out some of the inputs from the field, so you're not getting kind of congested with wrong forecast, etc.
Sure.
Inside the tool itself, you have some feedback mechanisms that can say, do you really want to kind of do this? Order 10,000 tons of concrete on a small site, for example.
Well, the materials request is largely based on the bill of materials. So we do have a way to upload the bill of materials from the original plan. And then we have a way to request for ad hoc materials that will go through an approval process. And the approval process, the workflow is totally customizable. So whichever people in the team has to do the approvals can be configured inside Steer.
Very good. And linking this up with the actual flow of the goods, is that something that you have in your roadmap, so you can kind of track, or when is it likely to come, or kind of indications that if certain consumption has been done, shouldn't you be ordering more steel barriers or something like that?
Definitely. That's actually already there, the actual usage and receiving of materials. And it can go all the way, and that's something that we're working on right now, all the way to how the materials are, the waste from the materials are handled, whether they're recycled, reused, or disposed.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Espen. And we've run out of time. Thank you so much, Team Steer. Let us now all welcome our next team, Nudge It. The floor is Nudge It.
Hey there, I'm Kathleen from Nudge It. I'm very excited to share our solution with you today. Nudge It is basically Jarvis for your business, just a very intelligent system that uses behavioral science and machine learning to help organizations make better decisions about their people. Nudges are essentially a prompt that changes behavior. Companies like Google and Facebook are widely using nudges to increase sales with their customers. In fact, we at Nudget have already been able to deliver value to some of our clients, increasing their productivity by over 500%, increasing sales by 600%, as well as helping them hire and retain talent who performed twice as better and stayed twice as longer. Over the last few weeks, we've studied opportunities to work with the PLDT group. And here are some case studies we've identified. We've recognized that there's an opportunity to plug in our Nudget technology to the PLDT enterprise website to increase customer conversions and upselling. We believe that this use case can benefit from nudging and behavior change and translate to a lot of sales for the PLDT group. Here's how it would work. Instead of having the customer explore their options on the website, Nudget can interact directly with the customer to identify what products would work best with them. Moreover, it can identify what kind of customers tend to look for what product and deliver that information directly to the relationship manager. This means that relationship managers no longer need to do exploratory sales with a potential prospect. Rather, they get information directly from the AI and can direct their efforts into closing sales more quickly. The Nudget intelligence also incorporates applied psychology, things like FOMO, signaling, bandwagon effect, and other elements to help the AI system understand what kind of promos work well with what customer and how to use certain promos so that instead of doing brute force tactics to market certain products and services, PLDT can use Nudget to direct their efforts into customers who are more likely to translate to sales. Finally, our chatbot delivers a personalized experience that's unique for each user. We basically incorporate advanced AI models that interact in a unique way to each user and deliver and anticipate user behaviors through direct messaging. So it's easy to plug in, it's convenient, and it's an end to end intelligence that uses applied psychology to get you guys more sales, essentially. At the same time, marketing managers and sales leaders can have a dashboard to create and implement their own nudges for customers. Of course, a lot of these would be based on applied psychological concepts and how to make decisions or create sales closes among the customers that you're interacting with. We see this as an opportunity for PLDT to get the most out of their enterprise website, as well as to engage more customers, leading to more closed sales, happier customers, and more personalized customer experiences overall. After all, PLDT has always been a customer first company. Our unique competitive advantage is the Nudget tool can be plugged into almost any use cases. It can be taught to remember certain elements about selling specific products. So, in a sense, it can retain intelligence. If you have experienced marketing and sales managers who use nudges in a certain way, you retain their knowledge even after they leave the company. This means that the tool gets more intelligent the more you use it for a specific use case. We believe that the opportunity for the PLDT group to work with us can be mutually beneficial. Our technology can not only enable the website, but also other sales and marketing platforms with this kind of a behavioral science intelligence and lead to a better customer experience overall. So Nudget is actually created by a team based out of Southeast Asia. So we have our CTO Jack, who's Taiwanese, our CEO Xiaoyong, who's Singaporean, and of course me, from the Philippines. And our technology is based out of 70 years of behavioral science and artificial intelligence research. We're partnered with the Association of Science, Technology, and Research, as well as Google and Microsoft, to improve and continue to level up our technology with different elements. Finally, in the time that we've been incorporated, we've been able to deliver value to companies like P&G and Merck, as well as HSBC and Bank of China. We hope to add the PLDT group to this portfolio soon. The business opportunity for working with us is quite clear. We believe that there's an opportunity not only for the PLDT group to benefit from implementing Nudget into their products and services, but also for selling Nudget to SMEs and large companies in the Philippines who are looking for a solution like this. We are open to a rev share agreement of up to 40%, which can translate to up to 750,000 US a year in profit for the PLDT group in the first 3 years alone. We believe that the Nudget technology will bridge the gap for businesses to move forward post pandemic. As more and more businesses adapt AI solutions for their processes, the question has always been, what about the people? How will we incorporate the best parts of how people make decisions with AI technology that levels up how we study data? And Nudget combines the best of both. We hope that we can have an opportunity to discuss what the partnership would look like down the road. And we believe that by working together and pushing out technology that derives outcomes, we can actually move forward to build a better business and a better ecosystem moving forward. So thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and we hope that we can continue this conversation even after the Innovation Challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Nudget. And judges, you may now ask your questions to Team Nudget. A lot of hands raised here, Melvin.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen. My first question is that you project 750,000 US dollars for PLDT. How did you calculate the projection?
Basically, it's based on sales that we've already been closing, plus the opportunity to tap into PLDT's partner network. We've made the tool very easy to plug in and implement. So it's basically just a matter of deploying inside the PLDT network, and you guys can start selling it almost immediately.
Thank you.
So it's really ready to sell, and the build is there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melvin. Ding.
Hi, so I just wanted to understand, how do you get to know the personality traits, the behavioral aspect of the clients? Is it based on their social media profile, or do you send out survey? How does it work? How do you come up with the algorithm?
The first thing is we're partnered with OpenAI, who develop both GPT-3 and all the sophisticated language models. What we've done is we've combined it with our cutting-edge behavioral science technology. So most psychologists see it as every customer or every person behaves the same. But what we've realized over the past decade of study is it's very context dependent. Asian markets behave differently compared to other markets, as well as there's unique considerations that you have to do usually account for when a situation like this arises. So what we've done is we've developed behavioral algorithms to understand certain contexts. So for example, when a customer doesn't make an interaction when you send out a nudge, that is actually a reading of a personality already. We can combine different types of data together. So purchasing data, certain customer behaviors we can combine to make those conclusions. And finally, we've applied this technology from the Singapore government to actually derive personality based on people who have similar traits. So for example, people with high openness tend to look similar in terms of behavior, people with certain conscientiousness levels, and so on.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ding. Katrina.
Quick question. Hi, Catherine. Of course, I'm quite familiar with Nudget from an internal kind of HR tool. How would you describe like the traction that you have for this particular use case? It's more kind of outward or sales oriented, and among your clients who's using this particular use case. Yeah.
Okay. we've been able to increase sales almost immediately from the clients that we've run the Nudget tool with. Basically, within 2 months of implementation for their sales team, they've been able to increase the sales closes that their team makes very significantly. What we really see the tool doing is personalizing the same way Netflix does, except it's the workflow, it's the customer experience, and it's really what kind of value gets delivered both to the employee and the customer. So, in a sense, talent management and customer management are two sides of the same coin with the same principles that can actually be applied to both cases.
Thank you, Katrina. We've got a minute to go. Espen.
Yeah, I saw 10 clients that you had put up there. What's your plan to get it to 10,000? How would that how would that work?
Well,
10,000 clients. How would you do that? Is it difficult? The difficulty of the implementation and the integration, and the way that you're setting up contracts, etc. If these are complex, it might take time and be difficult to get to 10,000 customers. Maybe you don't have that in your plan, but how would you scale?
Okay. Two things. We've been studying PLDT's edge computing network to see how compatible our solution would be to deploy there. And what we've realized is we can actually turn Nudget into an API that can just be called whenever you need to run a certain case for a customer. So like a Facebook or a Google API, we've taken the first steps to do that. And our plan is really taking advantage or working with the PLDT group to deploy our solutions using edge technology and other customer networks. The other thing that we've done is we've deployed directly on Slack and Salesforce. We're in the process of building it up for MS Teams. So any MS Teams users can actually take advantage of Nudget already inside the platform. That way, we're not doing the sales 1:1, but we're working with teams from Microsoft, Salesforce, Slack, and so on to actually leverage additional value inside their products.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Espen. And thank you, Team Nudget. Let us now all
you.
welcome our next team, Uproot Urban Farms. The floor is yours.
Hello everyone, I'm Robbie from Uproot and we grow fresh food closer to home. Majority of the food in Metro Manila is sourced over 300 kilometers away, which results in high prices and poor quality of vegetables. And because of our complicated food supply chain, billions of agriculture products are lost each year. That's equivalent to more than 2,000 tons of fresh food being thrown out every day, which could have fed thousands of Filipinos during the pandemic. In fact, hunger rates reached record numbers as more than 15 million Filipinos went hungry, and 6 in every 10 households said they had difficulty accessing food during the pandemic. Our problem gets more complicated with climate change, as each year we face stronger typhoons and longer droughts, affecting both price and supply availability. In terms of market size, over 1 million metric tons of vegetables are delivered to Metro Manila annually. That is worth over $240 million. But this is still small compared to the billion-dollar vegetable industry of our Southeast Asian neighbors. In fact, the country still imports more than $3 million worth of vegetables each year because local production is simply not enough to meet the demand locally. And here are the other startups involved in urban food production, but we don't really see them as competitors, more as industry collaborators, because the market is still young and huge at the same time that we need more of us to help develop the industry. Because while supply is available, there's a problem of inconsistency, and Uproot will address that with this value proposition by bringing the farms direct to cities. It allows us to grow food more locally and more efficient while using fewer resources like water and fertilizers. That translates to better quality and affordable prices for consumers. Our shipping container farms grow food all year round near the point of consumption, which removes the need to transport vegetables from far destinations, maintaining quality and reducing food wastage. Our production area is only 30 square meters, but the capacity is equivalent to more than 2,000 square meters of farmland, eliminating the need for big plots of land to grow food. But more importantly, we grow fresh food that is sustainable and better for you and the environment. In terms of our traction, our urban farms have provided 100% increase in revenues for our community growers. We have zero post-harvest loss as we only harvest on demand and deliver within a few kilometers away. And we have grown over 7,000 kilos of high-value crops on a regular basis to address the shortage of fresh food in Metro Manila, amounting to over $84,000 in total revenues. And this is the team behind Uproot that is trying to change the status quo of how we grow and eat our food. We have over 30 years of combined experience in management, operations, and food production. Innovation and sustainability is at the core of what we do in Uproot, whether it's the use of the new technologies to grow food that protects environment or introducing new business models that provide livelihood which sustains communities. Similar to PLDT and Smart's program of empowering our food producers through campaigns like Buy Local and digital farmer programs, Uproot's Corporate to Cultivate or C2C program empowers communities to grow fresh food and through a subscription model connects them to corporations to provide them sustainable livelihood and make food more available, accessible, and affordable. But because we don't just grow food in Uproot, we also cultivate lives. And we know how important sustainability and empowering communities is for the PLDT group, which is why part of our proposal is the expansion of our shipping container farms located in key cities across Metro Manila that will help lessen food wastage and generate over 6 million in annual revenues for our communities. But more importantly, it will generate over 70 tons of fresh food on a regular basis to address the food shortage here in Metro Manila because fresh and safe food nourishes not just our health but the entire country as well. And we want to work with the whole PLDT group because it will allow us to help more Filipinos in making food more accessible, available, and affordable. And can you just imagine our shipping container farms located in key areas growing fresh and safe crops for all PLDT employees and their families? We are Uproot and we believe that no Filipino should be hungry. Thank you very much.
Farms, judges, you may now ask your questions to Team Uproot. Melvin.
Thank you. Interesting, very interesting. I like the angle from sustainability. Tell me one thing, because from agriculture perspective, the margins are actually usually very thin. So what's your plan of break even as well as return of investment? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, sir. So, okay, actually, our shipping container farm took a little over 800,000 pesos to convert. I know it may seem a lot of money for a 30 square meter farm, but to put it into context, typically to set up an indoor shipping container farm, it would cost around 3 to 5 million pesos. But through collaboration with another startup, that was affected also by the pandemic, but had the expertise to offer. In this case, the unused shipping containers. We were able to collaborate and build an indoor farm less than a fraction of the industry standard cost of $100,000. So in terms of ROI, we harvest all year round with our shipping container farm with an average yield of 720 kilos per harvest. So that's around 7,200 pieces or heads of, let's say, lettuce with an average weight of 100 grams. And for retail, we have our B2B and B2C customers. So for B2B, which compromises around 80% of our retail operations, so that's around 570 kilos something, if I remember correctly. It sold at 350 pesos per kilo, so that's around 200,000 pesos a month. And then for our B2C, we sell less than about 150 kilos per month at a price of 500 pesos per kilo. So that's another 70,000. So I around 5 to 6 months, but definitely not a year to for you to get out your ROI.
Okay, so only 6, 7 months. Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you, Melvin. Espen, your turn.
First, I have to say it's really exciting. I was buying from one of your competitors recently, and I was just bragging to my wife how great the product is. Hopefully, yours are equally good. My question is on the electricity. Of course, you're saving on the transport, saving on the pesticide, which is important, but you're losing a bit of the sunlight. So how do you see that using of electricity, and how efficient can you use that so that your footprint is becoming even smaller?
Well, actually, in terms of the footprint, we're actually well, eh, uh, we're trying to lessen our carbon footprint any way we can. Like for example, in terms of our ventilation system, we're not actually currently using any AC systems in our shipping container farm, but we're able to lower or maintain the temperature inside it by using those patented wall uh, wall frames that they use for greenhouses. So we try to as much as possible look at ways on how we could lower our carbon footprint in terms of the light or the electricity requirement. We're actually the LED lights that we're using are just around 36 watts, and they're actually very energy efficient, and it doesn't really cost a lot in terms of operation.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Espen. We got about a minute. Arvin.
Yes, thanks, Kathy. So it seems to me that the container van and the system that you set up there, to me it seems expensive, no? And I know the hydroponic farming, and I mean related to the question of Melvin, no, the ROI, no? Because the vegetable the price is largely driven, no, by supply, no, especially if it's seasons of lettuce, no? And it's the shelf life is very short, right? So how do you recover that, no? And how do you compete as well with those um, backyard industrials doing hydroponic farming inside the city as well, right?
Wait, so sure, yeah. I would say that in terms of yung the technology itself, we're actually we harvest only when there's order, so we don't really have any as I mentioned earlier, we have zero post harvest loss because we only harvest on demand and then deliver just a few kilometers away. In terms of competing with the other backyard farmers, I would say that in terms of quality and the freshness, I would say we're ahead in terms of versus the other backyard farmers. Simply because we're able to grow indoors, which we're able to have control in the environment, which helps us grow efficiently and more more. I would say that the quality is much better compared to the backyard growers.
Okay, so just one last follow-up, Kati. So the lettuce has only 28 days shelf. No, I mean you have to harvest that after 28 days. It will be different. No, so did you introduce new techniques, no, to be more cost efficient in terms of operating, or in terms of growing, growing the plants inside the van, because I guess it's one is the operating expense in terms of electricity, etc. But did you introduce new techniques?
In terms of sir, with our shipping container farms, it's basically the new techniques that we were able to introduce was basically the ventilation systems where it did not require us for us to use any ACs for our systems, lowering our operating expenses. And then in terms of like growing high quality vegetables, we actually start with the seed. So we really, we're very particular, or we're very picky with the types of seeds that we grow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Arvin. And thank you, Uproot Urban Farms. The final team to present is Metro City AI. Your turn.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm King Del Rosario and I'm from Metro City. So let me tell you about Jasper. Jasper is a recruiter for one of the call centers here in the Philippines. And according to him, he spends around 5 hours of his working day screening resumes and conducting HR initial interviews on Zoom or MS Teams. So the sad part is it's not really unique to him. It's actually prevalent in the industry. And that's why when we dug deeper to find out more and validate the problem last June, we also identified three additional pain points for recruiters and the recruitment part of the business. So there's a lack of efficient pre-hire assessment, there's a lack of efficient post-hire assessment, and there's also an increase in cost per hire brought about by the manual work that I just described, which is compounded by the fact that sometimes because of this process, you end up hiring the wrong person to do the job. And that's why we are proposing a platform that makes use of an asynchronous video interview system plus AI so that we can reduce the hours, provide a cost efficient solution, and automate the process, and in the end, eliminate the waste. Now, before we get lost into all of the technical jargon, I actually want to be very clear and communicate properly what we do for Metro City. So we have this process map wherein the blue part would show the traditional setup or the traditional process for recruiters or the recruitment part of the business. And then what we're proposing is the yellow part of the process map, wherein in order for you to eliminate the hours spent on paper screening and initial HR interviews, you can just redirect your applicants to our platform so that they can record themselves answering your questions on video. And after they submit their videos to us, we process it with the use of our AI, and the applicants that actually answered properly are included in your shortlist for the live video interview. And in the end, you can also have a stack ranking that can guide your company and your hiring managers in coming up with a data driven and systematic approach of who to extend the job offer to in the end. So imagine what we can do for your company because for a typical job post, we can save around 10 hours. And this is just for a job post that's really around 50 to 100 applications for most call center companies. Now, there are a lot of applicants in the industry. There are a lot of AI, scanners, automation systems, and of course, a lot of asynchronous video platforms as well. But what sets us apart is the fact that our video tests are quite smart. It can detect the keywords or the answers for both personalized and default questions that we provide. And this is so much different than our competitors that can only automate the process if you make use of their own questions. We also have the quick applicant feedback, so we can quickly inform the applicants whether they passed or fail. So this avoids you ghosting them in the end. And of course, this improves the entire application experience with your brand. And finally, we have the clear pricing model. So we don't employ a meter-based approach. We charge you a fixed monthly fee, and this becomes more manageable in terms of departmental budgets. So when we say clear pricing model, we have three packages that can support all types of business and levels of growth. This is a snapshot of our asynchronous video interview platform. So in this type of setup, your applicant can record their answers to the questions that are being flashed on screen. And after that, after they click submit to all of the questions that you're asking them, our AI will process and in the end, find the applicants who provided the correct answers. If you want to experience this yourself, you can also visit the link at the lower left part of the slide and just click apply and enjoy experiencing what we can do for your business. This is another screenshot of the timeline or the feedback mechanism. And you can actually see here on the next slide a way for the applicants to check their submitted videos. And they can also review whether the answers aligned with your keywords or your expectations for the role. This is a stack ranking that we can provide, and this can help you decide on the best applicants for the job. And this is an example of a job posting for companies. So our team is quite small. I'm King, and I'm handling the non-technical aspects of the startup. And this is my co-founder, JR, and he's doing the R&D of our AI and the entire platform. We're quite small and young, at least in terms of startup sense, but our goal is quite big. We aim to be the leading global player in AI worldwide. And that's why we are extending two proposals to PLDT Smart. The first one is sign up with us and automate the recruitment process. But one of the things that we actually found interesting was when we had our FGD with your talent assessment head a couple of weeks back, and she gave us a feedback or a recommendation to work with an expert in psychometrics so that we can further improve our solution. And that's why we are proposing that let's work together instead. Let's develop a strong psychometric based recruitment AI solution so that we can develop our solution and in the end make your HR team a trailblazer in the workplace of the future. Let's convert your HR team into a revenue generating center. And of course, it will help PLDT Smart increase your revenues by including our AI platform in your ecosystem of solutions to extend and offer to your clients. Thank you. And let's change the world one application at a time.
Thank you, Metro City AI. Judges, you may now ask your questions to Team Metro City AI. Do I see a raising of the virtual hands? There you go, Espen.
So are you, yeah, thanks for the introduction. The transcripts of this, are these being kind of read through, because there are different languages and different way of speaking, and that changes quite fast in a kind of in the modern world, and especially with younger people taking up new words, etc. How are you constantly kind of relearning the machine to be able to give correct transcripts? Because that's a problem also for the big companies, like Siri doesn't always get it right.
Hi, JR. Go ahead and answer the question.
Okay. Yep. Actually, right now, our AI model can understand English for now, but if we can generate data set that can that has different models or languages, then we can actually retrain it and fine tune it to different languages. So, yep.
Have you got a follow-up, Espen?
Yeah, so why, since you have the ambition that you have, how can you stay at the top of this and be better than others? Because as you mentioned, there are a lot of people in this field. How can you be so confident?
Okay, thanks for that question, Espen. In order for us to be on top of the field or the game in terms of asynchronous video interviews, we're actually focusing a lot on engagement and not just processing the applications, and that's why we have the quick applicant mechanism. So that's just one of the things that we can feature, or that we have actually already launched, and later on we'll have several other features aligned with that, so that in the end we're not just improving the experience of the companies but also with the applicants as well. And then on top of that, we also mentioned about training. We'd further train that, especially in the Philippine setting, because we really see that there's a big market for IT BPOs and call centers in the Philippines. And then, yes, for certain, there are a lot of nuances in how we speak English, wherein the other players from other countries might find difficult to address right now. So that's one way we can address it. And of course, ensure that we're always at the forefront of AI in recruitment. Thank you.
Thank you, Espen. I've got about 2 minutes to go and 2 judges raising their hands. I'll go first for Kat.
Yeah, you mentioned you're a relatively new startup. So how much of this has been built, and like what's on the roadmap? What can we expect?
Okay. Yeah, we only start. We only launched our first version or product last October. We have 3 companies right now who are that are testing our solution. We have one in FMCG. We have one in finance analytics and one BPO. And they're giving us a lot of opportunities to really try this out in a live interview process. In terms of features or roadmap, we're going to release a live virtual platform by the start of December. But in terms of what happens next, let's just say we're going to focus on engagement because it's a lot of what we've learned as the pain points right now in terms of recruitment and really engaging employees in the time of work from home and working anywhere.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. Ending.
Hi. So I just wanted to find out. So can you actually use your tool or technology, not just with active applicants, but even potentially passive applicants by, sifting through LinkedIn or whatever avenues you can check out just to make sure that the company gets the right skills in place?
Oh, okay. Actually, what you can do is make use of the shareable link and connect it with your LinkedIn post or Job Street post or even on your corporate website. So we don't do the collection ourselves for now, although it's been suggested a lot. So what we wanted to ensure is that there's really a very interested HR partner who really wants to review all of the CVs later on so that we can connect the dots and ensure that the applicant experience is really there. And then in terms of passive applicants, it's actually what one of our partner companies want to do. They're going to send out the links for the role for all of those who applied to their companies in the past. So they would check if there's an interest and if anyone would really want to apply. So it's not just, it's going to address your concern about passive application.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ding. And thank you, Metro City AAI. All our 10 finalists have completed their pitching and the Q&A. Judges and organizers, you will be shepherded to the breakout room for the deliberation. Startup participants and audience, please stay in this room for our next segment. While waiting for our judges to finalize the winners of this year's PLDT and Smart Startup Innovation Challenge, tune in and learn the different programs and support services corporates are initiating for the startup community. Joining us now are some of our technology partners, Multisys, Huawei, Fortinet, Microsoft, and Checkpoint. Our first panelist is the CEO and founder of Multisys Technologies Corporation, Mr. Dave Almirol. Next panelist is the Business Development Manager at Fortinet, Mr. Ching Ping Wong. Next up, the Chief Technology Officer of IT Infrastructure from Huawei, Mr. Orny Alvarez. And next up, a Security Engineer from Checkpoint Software Technologies, Mr. Victor Bides. And the Chief Marketing and Operations Officer of Microsoft, Mr. Abid Zaidi. A very good afternoon, everybody, to our panelists. Could I just start and have you all give us a short introduction of your role in your respective companies, just to put everything into context. Let's begin with Dave. Dave?
Hi, Kathy. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, so we're excited to be here at the PLDT Smart Startup Innovation Challenge. So I listened to all the pitches a while ago, Kathy, and very excited to. They have a lot of brilliant ideas.
So exciting,
and,
brilliant.
Yes, so happy to be here, and we're happy to also contribute something here, Kathy. Thank you.
But what about in terms of Multisys? I mean, where are you coming from? Just to put everything into perspective, Dave.
Right now, we have 25 platforms in Multisys, so everything is converted into SaaS, and we're willing to back up startups by providing them ready solutions, so that they don't need to to reinvent or maybe customize again their technology. So coming up with a ready-made solution for them to adopt in the new normal, we have a lot of integrations already in Multisys. So we're willing to work with the startups to make sure that they're able to use something to slingshot their operation instead of waiting spending a lot of money and maybe years and years of development. So that's the main idea why we wanted to be part of this innovation challenge, Kathy.
Yeah, we all need that. The ready solutions, the slingshot. I mean, that's plug and play and very critical to the ecosystem. How about you, CP?
So my role here is actually business development, right, within Fortinet itself. It's more of, I would say, at the rear end of it, corporate itself, we are a very innovative company. We've come up with new product services regularly, but that's over at corporate end. How do you then bring it down to the ground, to the locals and to the market itself, to customers, how we can adopt our solutions itself. So in that sense, why we are in this innovation challenge, we find it is that the solutions that's being pitched just now by the contestants, right? I think they're really great. That's business solutions. They're trying to solve a problem. So while we are trying to solve a real world business problem, we need to also make sure that they are secure in that sense to mitigate the risk of it. The easiest way, I think, if we look at it, is this: if all of us are flying a fighter plane, right? We have to strap in. Right? If not, then very soon we will be thrown about in the cockpit, and that's it. So we view security as that strap down. If we want to help organizations travel at the speed of or faster than the speed of sound, right? Then we have to also be able to help them strap down and do that in a very secure and risk mitigated way, so that they can go further. And that's basically what we do.
Yeah, I mean, how many could fly strapped into a fighter plane feeling secure? That really is important. Thank you, CP. What about for you, Arnie?
Well, good afternoon, Kathy, and good afternoon, everyone. Well, my primary role in Huawei is, as you mentioned earlier, I'm the CTO for IT infrastructure. While I do focus on IT infrastructure, I go beyond whenever I speak to customers. Essentially, I help set a vision for how technology can be used by practically all customers and how to benefit their business. And that is one reason I think, just like my co-panelist, I'm so excited to be here, and I'd like to thank the PLDT group for having us here. I like innovation, I like technology, and that's the reason why I am with Huawei and I am in this program. Thank you very much.
Yep, you're in good company, Arnie. What about you, Victor?
Hi, good afternoon, Kathy. Greetings from Checkpoint. Hello, everyone. Okay, so I am a security engineer, mainly as a security consultant. I have over a decade of experience in IT security, specializing in different aspects of security. That includes data, web, email, and cloud security. Okay, so what do? I've been helping enterprises, including startups, mid-range down to the large enterprises, help them craft or design the security blueprints, okay, implementing stuff like zero trust, defense in depth, and data protection strategies. Now we have joined this event as our support for startups. Okay, this is one of our among active engagement in supporting them. Okay, and I think I would share important message here. While this startup or these top 10 finalists, I wish you all the best. Okay, you all have good solutions, very exciting technology innovations. Okay, my important message is don't take security for granted. Okay, while you focus on your services availability, 99.99 service availability, ability to scale when users grow, make sure security is always part of the plan. Okay, so because there are simple vulnerabilities or security loopholes that you should not take for granted. It may range from an outdated mobile OS, okay, maybe an overly wide remote access provided to your third-party contractor, or a misconfigured access control list on your cloud, or a vulnerable firmware on your IoT devices, or maybe as simple as a phishing link inadvertently opened by one of your employees. These are, by the way, enough for cyber adversaries to take advantage and ultimately lead to compromise and gain access to your corporate data. and most importantly, your customers' data. Okay. So yeah, that's most of it. Thanks, Kathy.
Yeah, there were a couple of startups who actually talk about security. I mean, how would you gauge the level of awareness? Them bringing it out rather than the judges asking them about security, Victor.
Okay. Normally, startup companies, by the way, tend to look or seek guidance for security advices. And generally, if not all, most startup companies don't start with large security group. So they do have some what they call do everything guy. Okay, this guy, this network guy, a sysadmin guy, or maybe she's also or he is also in charge of security. And that's basically that basically creates a gap. And by the way, is almost everyone's challenges in securing corporate data. Okay, so what we do, we help them. Okay, and with Checkpoint vision or mission, we actually say or we actually impart a message. We allow any organization of any sizes to conduct their business on the internet with the highest level of security.
Indeed, Victor. Very interesting on security. What about for you, Abed? Your thoughts and how are you coming into this startup ecosystem?
Right. First of all, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me, Kathy. Really excited to be part of this. I'll talk about my role, but startup ecosystem or what we're doing in the startup space is very, very exciting. And I was listening to some of the pitches. It just energized me, to say the least. As far as my role is concerned as a chief marketing and operations officer, I'll start off with our mission, Microsoft's mission, which is to empower every individual and every organization to achieve more. And in line with that, when I look across various functions within Microsoft, right from our customer partner experience organization to support to sales and marketing, operations, as we all know, provides that unifying force, which at the end of the day really helps our customers realize their potential. And it's not just that, kind of providing technology, but also ensuring that we are democratizing innovation across the board or helping customers digitally transform, but be sure that, what is it that the technology can help with, because we have seen a lot of digital transformation projects even fail without kind of having a proper thought around what is it that we are going to go after. So at the end of the day, customer satisfaction is what is important to us. And as far as the startup ecosystem is concerned, I think the way we want to be very inclusive in how we are providing technology or thought leadership. And therefore, the idea here is to not let anyone be left out. So as far as startup ecosystem is concerned, when we look at the skilling and education in the country, and as part of our overall initiative of Parasabayan, where we are here to actually look at how we are adding value or contributing across our people, business, and the nation, it's important to look at startup as an industry, in my view, because it has its own dynamics. And therefore, in the last 2 years or so, we have actually put our energies together, and we are leaning in even more now to see how we can contribute. So as the session progresses, I'd love to share more with you and everyone how exactly we are helping startups achieve that. And at the end of the day, what I want to say here is that, it's when we are working towards building startup ecosystem, in my view, it's a nation building initiative. So I think what is important here is for us to all come together and see how we can contribute in our own way, because there's a lot more required, and one individual, one entity cannot do it alone.
That's true. And I like what you said about do not let anyone be left out, and talking about it as industry and really part of nation building. So what do you advise startups then when they think about digital transformation? If they fail, how do they fail fast?
See, I think it's important, first of all, to do proper research. Start with that. We know our problems. Sometimes, we come up with solutions for which the solutions are already there out there, and sometimes it's a duplication of effort. So I personally think the first starting, just to keep it simple, I mean, there could be like so many other points also that I would love to share, but I think the first starting point is to start by doing proper research, which should not just include talking about or understanding the problem, but also understanding what solutions are out there already and what is the gap there and how you're actually filling that gap. So yeah, so that's my one advice to startups.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Do your research before you get started. Thank you, Abed. Now, given the changing landscape of corporate innovation, the big question is, how have each of you seen companies apply the startup strategies? Dave.
Well, there's a lot of ways how to strategize, especially IT is no longer just a standalone industry, right? It encompasses a lot of industry, whatever you are in. So I consider technology now as an enabler instead of a vertical startup because it can be everywhere. Whether you're in e-health, I watched one of the pitch in the education tech a while ago. I also watched on the e-commerce side, maybe in the e-government side, or any industry. So in terms of strategy, I think it's best to come up with a very simplified model. It's, a lot of underutilized technology nowadays, whether they are legacy or new ones, for single reason: complexity. Complexity made things, slower, harder, unscalable, unoptimized. That's why my suggestion, especially when you are a startup, is learn to simplify. Simplicity is beauty nowadays. Meaning you should have that focus to accomplish first. You don't need to create a fairy tale story and do this and do that and do all. I think coming up with a very simplistic model, coming up with maybe 1, 2, 3 approach will be good. I've learned that before. Our life in Multis is quite complex because we're doing so many things, right? But now we're focusing more, and we even divided Multis into 8 departments just to make sure that each department will focus to that particular solution or platform. Yeah, I guess just a little bit of focusing on the not only simplicity but also on the value creation and revenue creation at the same time. Once you have that, I think the business will be more sustainable and long term at the same time.
Indeed, agree. Simple is beautiful. What about you, CP, from the point of view of security?
Sorry, yeah. I think simple is definitely one of the key things, but that's about how we build security solutions and all that. But if your question is on how organizations grow, I think that I've observed many different ways. If you're talking of a startup, I think if you're saying, hey, this year I'm making $1 million, to double it to 2 million, it could be easy. But if you're already at 100 million, how are you going to go to 200? 1 billion, how are you going to go to 2 billion? Then we start to think of, hey, are we going to continue to be a single product company? Are we going to do multi-products? And when it's multi-products, then are we going into a parallel market itself? And how can we innovate? There would always be this tendency, right, that we've done so well in whatever core that we've done. Then can we go back to be a startup? Then let's say I'm already at $1 billion today, right? Can we go back to be a startup and have a little incubation there to grow? And I've seen companies doing different things. Yes, we can have small groups who will then come up with new products and try to go to market, right? Leveraging on the core that we have. But there's also strategic investments into other companies. Or the other simple way, right, is many technology vendors you'll be familiar with will go out and acquire something else and fit it in. But end of the day, whatever strategy that you adopt, I think it has to be simple in that sense. Not only just for ourselves, I think more important is for the customers or clients to be able to adopt the solutions that we have. Very, very much, if I look back then at what Fortinet does, we have today something like 30 over products, but the core message and the core vision that we have is right to help our customers simplify the way that they operate security itself. Why? Because if you look at the 10 contestants today, right, security is a supporting role in the sense that, like I said, it's that strap down, right? You don't want to be bothered about whether that strap works or not. It has to work when you need it. Right? And we want to make that simple as possible for them.
Yeah, it just goes to show you can't go it alone. Everybody's got to help out, build and make for a robust ecosystem for startups. What about for you, Arnie? When you see those startups going beyond infrastructure, how are you seeing them apply that?
Well, for one, one thing I see about startups, one advantage they have over bigger organizations is their inherent agility. And as you mentioned earlier, failing and failing fast. So they have this ability to take risks and fail. As one famous guy said, I think everyone knows him, if things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. And specific to our organization, innovation has been at the core of Huawei's business since the company was founded. I'm not so sure if everyone knows, but over 50% of our workforce worldwide, and we have over 197,000, is into R&D. It's not sales, but R&D. And we invest practically 15 to 20% of our global revenue. We roll it back to R&D. So this has been Huawei's strategy ever since. And to put things into context, that annual rollback to R&D is about 20 billion US dollars, and we plan to do that in the next 5 years. So our core vision is building a fully connected, intelligent world, and that's where all our strategy comes from. And I've listened to some of the startups, and I think most, if not all, fit into our vision. So, and that's the reason why I think my co-panelist, I'm truly excited to be here and listen to the new innovations that Filipinos, are actually a majority of them, have done.
Yeah, it's really huge sums that Huawei is shoveling back to R&D and really just paying it forward to build that robust ecosystem for startups. What about for you, Victor, when it comes to IT security and the way that startups have applied?
Okay. Yes, I couldn't agree more with what other panelists or my co-panelists here are saying. Simplicity is the best. Okay, so when defining or building your security strategy, it must be something simple, measurable, and attainable. And I believe that Checkpoint's vision, okay, and we have that what we call gold standard in management, whereby we consolidate the security infrastructure, making the tools usable. Okay, I would say usable because it's very simple to use. It consolidates security. Okay, we could extend security at any aspect of your infrastructure, maybe it on premise, on cloud. Especially most startup or unicorns are building their workloads in cloud. Okay, on remote workforce, everyone are working from anywhere. Okay, so this is something what we provide in the table. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, Victor. Abid, let me get back to digital transformation. It's such a huge word, but in the way that you're seeing startups apply it, how are they doing so far?
I think when startup gets formed, obviously the starting point for that startup coming into being is somebody, the CEO or the co-founder, looking at a problem a certain way and then thinking in his or her head what could be a possible solution, right? But that's just the ideation, envisioning stage. I think the important thing here is, I would say two things. One is when you're looking at digital transformation, because as a startup, you're trying to solve a problem. And therefore, you got to be at the cutting edge of not just technology, but be the best company out there that knows how digital transformation is done, how change management is done. And therefore, I think sometimes it becomes a weak area for startups because you're a newly formed company. You don't have all the resources in the world to really make that happen compared to some of the large organizations, right? So they have to be very, very focused in terms of what is it that they're going to be solving for today, and then come up with a roadmap. That's extremely important, because I've seen a lot of startups thinking about, just like you mentioned, like digital transformation. There's so much that you can do, but little gets done because you need resources. It's a function of how many resources you have, and then what kind of impact you can eventually have. And considering that some of the large organizations even fail, even if they put like millions of dollars behind those digital transformation projects. So I think it starts with coming up with a solution which is the need of the hour, and at the same time be very clear in terms of prioritizing what comes next as your product feature. That's one. The other important thing here is I've seen some startups having amazing technology, but then they're far away from the market. They need to choose the right platform when it comes to technology, because they don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's, I saw some of the startups talking about ML and deep learning and the cloud technology and AI and analytics. Sometimes, or most times, they don't have to build it from scratch. There are platforms that are out there that they can use to really build on top. That would save them time, and that would actually be in line with the agility that these startups demonstrate, or what is expected out of these startups. The other important thing is when they're choosing the platform when it comes to technology, or they're building this stack on, is how they can use the company behind that platform to give them market access. Because if the customers don't know about startups' innovation or the solution, then it becomes an exercise in futile. And therefore, the second, in fact, the first two most important things here is choosing the right technical platform, but at the same time partnering with the right company that can also provide access to market to these startups.
So that's right platform and the right partner. But I go back to what you said earlier about that very important phrase in relation to digital transformation, which is customer satisfaction. What role do you think the customer plays in ensuring that the startup's digital transformation would work out, because the customer becomes the sort of North Star?
Yeah, see, it depends on what is that problem, what is that challenge that the startup is trying to resolve. When it comes to, let's say, startup trying to solve for some challenge that a large organization or enterprise is facing, then a lot of factors come into play. For example, if I'm a large company, would I want to use a supply chain solution coming from a startup that doesn't have good, strong financial backing? What if that company goes out of business? Who's going to provide maintenance? Do they have the right support? Do they have the right service infrastructure? So again, I think this is where the partnership helps, because you need that credibility as a startup. And that would only come in, going back to what I said, and you can have multiple partners, by the way, not just one, depending upon what is it that you're trying to achieve, to build that credibility. Because I think even before you can work on providing that maximum world-class solution or service to the customer, the first thing that pops up in customers' head is this a long-term partner for me, this startup? And if the answer is no, the discussion does not go anywhere. It doesn't go deeper than that.
So very important, right at the onset, get that clarity front and center. Well, give us some of the solutions then. I mean, we're talking about problems that we want to solve in this world. Dave, anything comes to mind that would inspire people listening to us right now on the successful problems that we solve because of a startup idea?
Well, if we enumerate all the problems, I think we have tons of them, Kathy, right? But for me, let's start with the necessity. Nowadays, there's a lot of things. If you are in the technology industry, there's a lot of things that you can do. Imagine there are thousands of pitches that we can listen if we will entertain all the startups in the Philippines alone. But maybe in my own opinion, I think both private and the public sectors, they have this things that we need to fix. Maybe the technology gaps need to be stitches. You need to stitch those gaps, because especially in the the complexity world now, like e-government and e-commerce and even e-finance and e-banking, these are the side that maybe startups can focus on. Because if you try to look at it, there are a lot of legacy systems nowadays in place, especially in the big conglomerates nowadays. And I agree with my co-panelists here that once you identify those problems, startups can easily create an agile way to have the solution. So example, I listened to one of the startup a while ago. They're trying to solve one simple problem, which is a necessity nowadays. So once you have that necessity, you focus now on how to productize that and come up with a marketing plan on it and experiment on it. And they're very correct that they need PLDT also, because at the end of the day, you need connectivity. Okay, you need connectivity. So for me, that's the way to move forward. We cannot solve all problems, but each solution, one application at a time, can solve one problem at a time as well.
How about you, CP? What comes to mind? What is the most successful idea that came to the market?
There's just so many ideas, and I totally agree with you, David, when you say there's so many things that can be done to improve. And from a startup perspective, why do we have so many startups? Right? I think the simple thing is that if we are able to just focus on one very sharp role, do that thing well, right? Identify that problem itself that probably resolves many people's a solution that resolves many people's problem. Katie, just now you mentioned about digital transformation being a very big word. It is a very big word, but if you just to simplify things, I look at it this way: why do companies, and I'm talking about large organizations, right, going after digital transformation? The simplest way to look at it is two things, right? To grow revenue faster, and that will be customer fronting, to manage their costs, right? There's a middle line, and that will improve their profitability. So any of these solutions that the startups can have, let's say just talking about IoT, just now somebody was talking about it, right? If we are able to make use of IoT technology to, say, in a retail shop, manage your inventory better, for that matter, that actually is helping two things, in fact, right? Manage your inventory, managing your middle line, so your cost of it, just in time, whichever you have. And if you're able to, from there, create a better customer experience, then you have a good chance of improving your top line as well, of the revenue, right? So there are so many solutions out there. You can just focus on one. But the other thing that, I've been talking to friends and all that, when we talk about startups, starting a company and all that, this is a personal experience, okay? What's your exit strategy? I think something that you may want to think about, right? Big ones, you want to think of IPO. Some you want to think of, hey, selling of your company. So if you're able to sell off the company, just on that one exit strategy, right? So if you've done, for example, a very good solution that fits a fintech solution, for example, maybe one good exit strategy is to get yourself bought out by a major bank. Then voila, there you go, right? And then you move on to do another thing, and so on and so forth. So that's my take.
Okay. What about for Arnie? Have you got a personal experience that you could share on a successful startup from ideation to productization?
Yes, actually, it's beyond, I would call it beyond startup. It's one thing that drives personally myself into innovation is the relevance of the solution. So one thing close to heart is obviously the Philippines. So we had a partnership with PLDT and Smart where we created, I think everyone knows, Palawan, it has one of the last rainforest, vast rainforest in the Philippines. So what we did was we partnered with Smart, and any signs of probably anomalies, like for example, you hear gunshots, chainsaws, or anything that would resemble something with the bad intent, it automatically alerts authorities. And we do that using Smart's connectivity. And we use our AI technology, we bring it to our cloud, and then we alert. So all of these solutions put together provided a very relevant solution. And another something close to our hearts, sometime March 2020, when the lockdown just started, one of our mayors up north, Mayor Benji Magalo, I think he went public when he used Huawei's AI technology into probably using the technology, reading the scans, and identifying 98% potential COVID patient. So within 7 minutes, they are able to determine, whereas a lot of other solutions at that time, it takes hours or even days. So they were able to do a lot of remediation in terms of what to do with those cases. So all of these relevant things. So my advice to actually startups is think of the relevance of the solution. It's not just having fantastic solutions that can wow a lot of different people, but is it relevant? Is it relevant and timely? So thank you, Kathy, for the question.
Yeah, it's really wow. I mean, to listen to the incidental sounds that go on in a forest, imagine that. I mean, bringing that to your room and just hearing it through a connected mobile phone. It is indeed a relevant solution. What about for you, Victor? When you talk about the gold standard for surveillance, any success stories you'd like to share in Surface?
Okay. So we have this success story with one of a startup company. Okay, they are quite small. Okay, like mentioned earlier, most startup company don't start with large security team. In fact, this company they only have 2 developers, and these 2 guys are obliged to secure their cloud infrastructure. Okay, so besides doing the development stuff, okay, committing on project deliveries, and testing the applications, they were also obliged to secure their cloud infrastructure. Okay, so the next question they received from the management: how could we ensure we are operating securely in the cloud? So what we did, we came into the picture. We helped them. Okay, we helped them with assessments, cloud security posture management, for example. Okay, besides having the visibility of their assets as one of their primary requirements, they were also able to identify and assess their compliance against certain regulations they need to adhere. And finding their assets, having full visibility, having the right answer or the upfront answer, if I'm secure in cloud, we then have some following discussions, like, for example, how do they secure transactions, okay, on their public facing applications. Okay, so oftentimes we hear a lot of stories like attacks like SQL injections. Okay, so their web apps, we are now in current discussion in protecting their web applications, and the secure communications between their cloud workloads, their virtual machines on cloud providers like Azure or AWS. Okay, they need to make sure there are no misconfigurations. Okay, so we also are in the talks right now in that project. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, Victor. That's quite compelling. What about for you, Abed? What comes to mind for a successful partnership?
I think problem always turns out to be bigger than the solution, and sometimes problems evolve as well, right? So, at least my experience is that there are solutions out there, and this is what I actually meant when I said, proper research is important. That the problem keeps evolving, and the landscape keeps changing, and therefore the solutions also become obsolete, or they don't end up delighting the customer, which everyone is talking about here. So it's important for startups to also look at, what are the solutions and how they can add to that existing solution instead of, bringing in something in parallel, and add to that solution so that specific thing that they're trying to solve for out of that big problem, that is creating that additional level of satisfaction for the customers. And this is basically in line with whenever, this is how kind of startups also get mentored. These co-founders, they start with ideation, they're very passionate about it, and then they're told to kind of think about exit strategy as well, right? So the exit strategy, in my view, is well, there's so many other ways to think about it, but how you end up kind of knowing what is your place in that bigger solution, and then see how it would really create that compelling reason for the customer to go for that additional layer of solution that you're building on top of the solution that they're availing, instead of talking about ripping and replacing. So I think this is a world where collaboration or co-opetition is more important than competing. And that holds true for even startups kind of getting together and seeing how they can come up with a bigger, better, compelling reason for customers to embrace the solution that they're building to solve their problems.
Yeah, co-opetition. That's quite a compelling word. In fact, maybe one or two startups did say that some of the finalists do have certain intricacies where they could collaborate at some point, which is really interesting.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
exactly.
get
Like one of the
granular.
startups mentioned that they are working on RPA and all that, but they don't have like IoT devices, and they're ready to partner with another startup that is building those IoT devices. Great move.
Indeed, it's amazing. You can't go it alone. That's the key message there. I'm going to get granular because I know that some of you have a dedicated team within your organization that handles corporate startup engagements, but some of you probably don't. So maybe you could give us a bit of an idea for the participants who probably want to co-op with you. Dave.
Yes, Kathy. Well, multi-sys game is more in partnership. You know, that's how we move forward ever since. And as mentioned by our co-panelists, that collaboration nowadays is the new play. You know, you cannot be an island nowadays. And everyone, we have our own strengths, we have our own weaknesses. In multi-sys, our strengths, we are focusing on 8 industries now. So you can check what we have. Basically, in e-commerce, we're quite big in e-commerce. We have a lot of complete solutions and integrations. You can use that. You can contact us, and we can collaborate. We are quite active also in e-payment and e-banking. So if you need our existing integrations, you can also use that. E-government is also one of our game. So we develop a lot of solutions for the ease of doing business strategy and development in the government. So if you want to link with that, we're okay as well. E-gaming, e-learning, and e-health are the newest departments or division of Multisys. So we have 25 platforms. So you can choose on those platforms, and we encourage you, instead of repeating that kind of platform, you can even white label it. So imagine that instead of you spending hundreds of millions of pesos building something, maybe we have something that you can use immediately. Then we can partner. So you can save money by partnering with Multisys and maybe make money immediately. So that's the way to move forward. We're excited also to use whatever you have. If you have something, please show us. And if you have something that we can use as well, we were willing to use it. We don't want to waste time. Nowadays, it's all about speed, In Tagalog, daig ng maagap ang masipag, right? Even if you work hard but if we are late already, we will lose the game. So I think speed and being creative nowadays, and creativity starts with partnership. So let's surround ourselves with good partners, the like of Huawei, PLDT, and all Checkpoint, and all of the companies that they have their own strengths. And by doing so, we can simplify everything.
I was just coming around to the translation for English for CP. That will be the early bird catches a worm, something like that, Dave. What about for you, CP? How are you set up so that if startups want to cooperate with you, where do they go? Do you have a dedicated team?
Okay. Honestly, I think for the company's perspective, I'm not very aware what's happening, whether we're anything corporate side of things. But I think at the local level, what we could do is like what we've been doing here, right? Cooperating with PLDT and Smart. We'll always be happy to work with the startups and see what we can do. We are in the business of cybersecurity, and probably see in what ways we can help strengthen the solution that we are bringing out to the market. Like I said, helping to stretch it down. Just to give an example, just earlier this year, was it last year? I couldn't remember. We were cooperating with a virtual bank startup in Hong Kong. While they build up their infrastructure, their applications in the cloud itself, we came in, collaborated in terms of how we put in the security solutions to secure their infrastructure. And that would be one quick example to share.
Thank you, CP. What about for you, Arnie? Invite the startups interested to cooperate with you.
Right. Thank you, Kathy. As innovation is at the core of Huawei's strategy, we do have several, not one, but several programs. One of them is what we call Huawei Spark. So our focus is actually helping the different startups with sales and marketing. So given our global presence in both enterprise and the consumer market, we do provide assistance in that. We also have our different platforms and most importantly, our technology. So essentially the startups we want to work with would have its focus on AI, IoT, edge computing, and the like. And from an industry perspective, we focus on verticals like finance, manufacturing, energy, e-commerce, and smart city. And CP mentioned something very important. So one of our strategies in working with startups are they can either sell to, that means Huawei will acquire them, sell with, that is leveraging our vast ecosystem partners, and probably sell through. So ibebenta namin sila, they put their platform in our cloud, and then we can help sell them. And another thing that we actually do is one of our big focus is helping mobile app developers. So we have what we call HMS or Huawei Mobile Services. So we help startups, in fact, develop and market these products. And for students, we do have what we call the ICT Academy. Huawei believes that the younger generation, eventually, technology will be part and parcel of their lives. So we, at an early stage, immerse them into technology, even the culture of different people. And that's why when they graduate, they can be technology savvy and way advanced than most of the people today. So we are very excited. And in fact, to make it very simple, if any startup is interested, they can contact me directly or any of the PLDT guys, and we'll be happy to endorse them to the right team.
Thanks for that, Arnie. What about you, Victor?
Okay. Usually, engagement like this, these are taken up in our HQ. Our headquarter, by the way, is in Israel. So there's plenty of startup companies in there. So we're not strangers to startup companies. Okay. Checkpoint, by the way, is a leading example of Israel's journey to the innovation nation. Okay. And in fact, we've acquired a number of startups. Okay. They are now a part of Checkpoint solution. So our security posture management, our remote access solution, we've seen the potential, we've seen how great their solution, and now, a long story short, they're part of Checkpoint. And Checkpoint usually sponsors these startup innovations, the ones we have right now, which only shows our full support. So in any case of possible collaboration, do reach out to us anytime. We have our local sales representatives are our phone call away. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, Victor. And what about for you, Abid?
Yes, so specific to startups, we have Microsoft for Startups, which is a global program dedicated to democratizing innovation and also supporting founders all the way from ideation to exit. So as part of the overall program, we offer deep technical and go-to-market support to help help these startups accelerate their journey. And then there are certain criteria depending upon which startup qualifies. We provide different resources, and I'm also happy to announce that Microsoft just recently announced Founders Hub, which is basically an effort to ensure that all the startups or most of the startups with certain minimum criteria are able to benefit from the resources that we have available. We previously used to have a platform and it was not as much scalable, but now with Founders Hub, we have actually worked on removing the traditional barriers to building a tech company by really democratizing those historically inaccessible resources, including even expert mentorship. So these founders can easily go on that portal, they can get themselves registered in terms of technical deep dives, in terms of business deep dives, in terms of getting mentorship to help them think about not just the solution but how the business is run, and also what kind of technologies the startups need to use to work as a company. How do they communicate? How do they collaborate? How do they make sure that they are secure? So as part of Founders Hub, we provide those resources all in one place. And this is actually our effort to provide that scale that the startup ecosystem needs, because otherwise these startups end up wasting a lot of time going to 10 different people, 10 different resources, and different companies to get what they want. So it will help these startups save their time and also get all the resources that the business needs at one place.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Abid. And to all our panelists, just making us come around full circle, hearing from the startups and then the corporates, because it takes an ecosystem to get that robust startup ecosystem going. They can't go it alone. They need our help in corporates. Thank you so much. That concludes our panel discussion. Thank you, Dave, Arnie, CP, Victor, and Abid. Now, before we announce the winners of this year's PLDT and Smart Startup Innovation Challenge, I'd like to acknowledge again our organizers, PLDT InnoLab, Idea Space Foundation, and Kubo Philippines, and our technology partners, Multisys, Fortinet, Microsoft, Checkpoint, Huawei, EPLDT, Aruba, Enghouse Interactive, and Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. And here comes the moment. I'd like to request all our judges to come on screen again and join me in awarding our winners. Is everybody ready? Our fifth place receives 25,000 pesos in cash. And that goes to Uproot Urban Farms. Congratulations, Uproot Urban Farms. I know that I was told that there will be a drum roll, so I'm going to wait for that when I announce the fourth place. All right, for the fourth place, receiving 50,000 pesos. This one goes out to, I want to hear that drum roll. Carga X. Congratulations, Team Carga X. Our third place now receives 75,000 pesos in cash, 5G smartphones for all the team members, and free 1-year contract of Beyond Fiber connectivity. All that goes to Packetworks. Congratulations, Team Packetworks. All right, for the second prize, receiving 100,000 pesos in cash, 5G smartphones for all the team members, free 1-year contract of Beyond Fiber connectivity, and Fortinet router Forti Wi-Fi 60E. All that goes to Olivia Technology. Congratulations, Team Olivia Technology. And for this year's PLDT and Smart Startup Innovation Challenge champion, receiving 150,000 pesos in cash, 5G smartphones for all the team members, free 1-year contract of Beyond Fiber connectivity, and Fortinet router 40 Wi-Fi 60E. All that, the champion for this year's Innovation Challenge is Team Nudget. Congratulations, Team Nudget, for being the champion. Jeffrey Chan for his closing remarks. Melvin.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, everyone, for watching this event today. Please allow me to share a few words as closing remark for the PLDT Smart Startup Innovation Challenge. Based on my previous experience working in different countries across Asia, Europe, Africa, and North America, open is really the way forward in tech companies and technology community in general. And working closely with startup community is one way to achieve our own open innovation approach. And that's why it's been always high up in my innovation strategy, as I strongly believe alone what we could achieve limited, but together we could co-innovate and we can achieve more. Given the changing landscape of innovation, corporate startups and innovators across the world are now hyper collaborating to develop something impactful and meaningful to the community. With everyone's drive to innovate relentlessly, tech leaders cultivate collaborations as their main strategy. Hyper collaboration now accelerates ecosystem innovations. Corporates like PLDT and Smart are now considering more startup partnership to be able to change the face of a teamwork in modern workplace. Shifting toward the hybrid collaborative culture can help drive the innovation that's needed to keep up with constant shifting of client needs as well as advancement of technologies. My team, PLDT Enterprise and IoT Business Development, is constantly working and exchange ideas with local startups, incubators, and accelerators in Philippines like Cubo Innovation Hub and Idea Space Foundation. And we are not just focusing on startups as one part of the ecosystem. We're also looking for potential collaborations with academia, government, and other private institutions who are into innovation, co-development. Let us all empower each other to create something fruitful for the community. So thank you once again to our organizers, InnoLab, Idea Space Foundation, and Cubo Innovation Hub. And thank you to all our technology partners for your generous support to our event. Thank you, Jojo, Kathy, Dara, and all our judges for your support today. And of course, thank you to our top 10 star finalists for sharing your knowledge, talents, skills, and time with us here in the Innovation Challenge program in the last couple of weeks. And also thank you for creating valuable innovations for our country. I promise you that our support will not end here today with this program. My team will continue supporting you and other local startups who are interested in working with us in the PLDT and Smart to co-develop, co-innovate, and co-marketing together, or even just hanging out, chill, and exchange some innovative ideas. So once again, congratulations to our winner, the champion Nudgets, and our runner-ups, including Olivia Technology, Pocketworks, CargaX, and Uproot Urban Farm. And for the rest, looking forward to seeing more of you in the next PLDT and Smart Startup Innovation Challenge. Allow me to end with one of my favorite quotes from Steve Jobs, my idol in innovations. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. So I wish you all, the startup presence today, are leaders in your own journey. Continue your passion and hard work in your own startup. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melvin. And that leading begins today. It's heartening to know that this is just a start with your message there of widening the search for partners, going beyond the startups and even going to government, to the academe and private institutions. Again, thank you so much, Melvin, and to our viewers, organizers, and technology partners, and all the startups that tuned in to this year's PLDT and Smart Startups Innovation Challenge. Stay safe, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.